Okay, we'll get going. Welcome, everybody, to Spanish Fork City Council meeting on March 24th, 2026. We appreciate a room full of people. This is a great meeting. Thank you for coming. And it's been a while. We feel like, hope we remember how to do this. We had a...
It's been nice.
Seth hasn't minded it, but we're glad we're here and that you're here with us. Just like we always start these meetings out in Spanish Fork, we have a prayer and a motivational message, and then Councilwoman Beck will lead us in the pledge. Councilman Euler will give us the prayer tonight.
We'll go ahead and pray. Father in heaven, we express our gratitude tonight for this opportunity that we have to meet as a city. We're so thankful to live where we do and for the beauty that surrounds us. Father, we're grateful for those in Spanish Fork that serve, and grateful especially for our first responders, for our police and our fire and EMS, and ask a blessing on them and their families. Continue to protect them as they serve our community. Father, we're grateful for the freedoms that we enjoy living where we do, and ask Thee to also protect those that fight to preserve our freedoms. We're grateful for them. Bless us this night as we make decisions that will affect those that live in Spanish Fork, that we can be led and directed to do what's right, to make the correct choices, and grateful for those responsibilities that we have, and pray for these things and do so in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand and repeat the pledge after me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Euler and Councilwoman Beck. Before we get to recognitions, Councilman Marshall is away on business, so we'll excuse him tonight. And again, thank you, everybody else, for being here. Recognitions, we've got a few of them tonight to go through, which we're grateful for. Best part of council meetings sometimes. We'll start with Dale first, and then we'll go to Jordan, and then we'll go to Corey after that for their respective departments. Mr. Dale Robinson.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, this is for employee of the quarter. And I'd like, Ryan, why don't you come up, please? We'll have your wife join us in just a minute. I'm going to read here the what was turned in and submitted on Ryan. Ryan is our golf pro up at the Oaks Golf Course, for those of you that don't know. Ryan continues to knock it out of the park at the golf course, and we have failed to recognize the significance of his great work. He manages a golfer-friendly operation that people flock to, but at the same time is all business. In the last 12 months, the golf course has generated over $2.8 million in revenue. It has continued to increase incrementally each year over the last several years. This can be attributed to the tremendous culture that Ryan has created in the pro shop as well as out on the course. He and his staff have put together a really nice product with a friendly atmosphere and a top-notch playing facility. They work hard to continue to improve it every year. It wasn't too many years ago that this same facility was being subsidized by the general fund, and now it is generating significant profit thanks to Ryan and his team. It is time to recognize Ryan for the outstanding contribution that he is making to Spanish Fork City. And let me just add, Ryan came into some pretty tough circumstances and really appreciate what he has done to change the atmosphere and the culture at the golf course. And we've watched that incrementally change over the years because he handles his business professionally. He has a very professional staff. I consider him to be my dear friend. He's a joy to work with, and appreciate him and glad for the opportunity that we have to be able to recognize. I don't know that you've received this before, have you? How long have you been here?
15 years.
15 years. Wow, seems like yesterday. So he's been here a long time, and he certainly has earned this honor, and it's too bad we had to wait till the golf course was flourishing to recognize his good work, but glad that we have the opportunity to do that now. So appreciate this, and thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, we don't let him get
Just
away
as well
without a
stay
speech.
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would-
And also, I'd like his wife, Lucilla, to come up as well. We recognize in our profession, as well as many others, that, man, these are family businesses and there's sacrifices that are made everywhere. So we appreciate her willing to let him live at the golf course for the last 15 years at least. So, yeah, he's going to make you speak.
I like it.
I didn't plan anything, so thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, Dale. Thanks to all of you for your support of me and the golf course. And it's kind of a golden era right now. It's busy. Everybody's wanting to play golf, so we try our best to treat them right. And Dallin and everybody at the golf course does a great job keeping the course nice. And so, just tell the city residents and you thank you and appreciate this. Thanks to my wife, Lucilla. A lot of hours away from home and the kids and everything. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Ryan, while I got you here, this is a year, every year we live in a desert, and so there's water on top of everybody's mind, but this year is a exceptional bad year for water. And so I've seen some people talk about golf courses, in general and what that is, but to maybe speak a little bit. I think we've set it up here a number of times, but it's gonna be important in years like this to make sure people have the right information. The investments that we've made years ahead in the golf course of a new system and all that goes into that, for you guys to be able to just water the areas that need to be watered, that you couldn't do that just a few years ago now. Pretty important part of water conservation in our city.
Yeah, so our new irrigation system does allow us to isolate one head at a time. Before it was 3 heads were on one, I don't know what you call it, valve. Now we can just do 1 head at a time. We can do it all from our computer, and so we will take every measure we can to do whatever we need to do to conserve and just keep the areas that are most important watered. So Dallin and his staff are going to be on top of it, and so hopefully we get some moisture and rain, but if not, we have the systems in place to do our best.
How about the wind? Can you shut off the wind?
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, I'll just take this moment to Ryan is a pro in the label that he carries as a golf pro, but he is a pro in business, and just couldn't say good enough things about you, Ryan, and the way you operate up there, and it shows in how many people want to come play golf at our place. Golf is popular, but golf is really popular at the Oaks. So thank you for you and your staff and Dallin and everybody that keep that running top notch. It's just an important place for our community, our citizens, but an important place for visitors too. So you're a big part of the success, and thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
And the official document there.
Signed piece of paper. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Appreciate you.
Well deserved.
Thank you. Visit.
Stacy's anniversary.
Okay, Jordan's up next.
I feel like I'm up here every quarter. I think this is the 4th or 5th employee we've had in the last year or two. But we have awesome staff, and tonight is no exception. We have Shallon Biggs, and I'm going to ask her to come on up with me. Shallon likes to tease me, so this is my chance, I think. And I didn't think Shallon had been here long enough to get Employee of the Quarter. I was like, you need to pay your dues. But Shallon has been amazing, and it's well deserved. We've really enjoyed Shallon.
Yeah, so I'm going to read this nomination. Shallon is so kind and helpful to all customers and coworkers. She always takes time to help customers, whether it is to answer questions or helping them to fill out applications, making them feel like they are important and not rushed. She is also kind to all her coworkers, making everybody feel like they are her best friend. She is so easy and fun to work with, and there's quite a few of her coworkers in the back there that they're here not on the clock, but here to support Shallon because they love her. Shallon's been great. Yeah, she hasn't been here super long, but she's been great. The young and the old all love her. For the little kids that are dragged into the office by their parents, she has a treasure chest that she opens and bribes them and wins their love. And for the elderly that come in to pay their bills, she wins them over. So much so that her coworkers have deemed her the senior companion of the office, and she has a certificate and everything.
Oh, yeah.
You're official there. Yeah. Yeah. We knew that Shallon was a fit at Spanish Fork City because of her deep love of all things rodeo, and she might be able to speak to that a little bit here in a second. You're going to have to say some words about the rodeo. Shallon is also very patient. She sits by two fluent Spanish speakers that seem to talk nonstop in Spanish, mostly about Shallon. And I think they are, right? From what I can gather, I think they're mostly talking about you, but you put up with them well.
Yeah.
In fact, the only thing I've ever told Shallon that I want to improve upon is learning Spanish very quickly.
See.
We set goals like every 3 months, so.
Yeah.
And like in 3 months, she should be fluent, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, perfect. That's on her evaluation there. But Shallon is amazing. We're lucky to have her, and she's doing a wonderful job in our utility office. Shallon, you want to say a few words?
I would love to. Well, I get nervous. My voice cracks. So, oh my gosh, I don't know, I'm emotional, but I've only been here a year and a half, and I feel like they're my family now and stuff. And when they come in to do the employee of the quarter, they bring in the guns, bubble guns, and like the big check and everything. And I was like, where's my bubble gun? And I was like, and everybody's ignoring me. And I'm like, where's my gun? And Shelly's like, oh, and Hendrickson was like, anyway. And they were kind of like just ignoring me. And I was like, okay, I guess I won't get one this time and celebrate with everybody. And so then Jordan come around and he like opened the check and it had my name on it. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was just like, I'm so grateful. And so you guys don't even know. And so the only regret I have is not getting this job years ago and being able to work with these amazing people, with an amazing city. Me and my husband, we live in Payson. Don't judge. And we're Spanish Forkers, and we've been here our whole lives until we moved into Payson. Anyway, but I was trying to get on with either Payson or Spanish, and I just kept telling my husband, I just want to work for Spanish Fork City. I don't want to work for Payson. And anyway, I got it, and I'm just thrilled. I couldn't be happier with everybody, so thank you. Can my coworkers come up?
We want the coworkers.
Okay.
I don't know if we can get them. Can we get them?
We can try.
You guys,
How many did you bring?
come on.
Let's do the family first. Jordan, let's do family, then we'll add. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Section first. We'll do family first.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Move this way, please. There you go. Thank you very much. Here we go. And boom, boom, and thank you. Now, okay. Let's have the family, rather the Spanish speakers. First of all, there we go. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Are we getting a rodeo story?
I rodeoed when I was younger, and so, my kids have taken that over now. Those are my boys, and they rope a lot. We spend a lot of time at our fairgrounds. Like, I was there last night. I seen you there, too, at the Legacy dinner. And I love everything rodeo, agricultural, stock shows. It's just been my life. I grew up on a farm, so yeah, the water is a little scary with our pastures and our hay and stuff, but yeah, I really don't have a rodeo story. I've kind of, like I said, my kids have taken over the high school rodeo for years, and I just love it. It's our life, so different lifestyle than most, but I do love it. So
That's awesome. Thank you, Shalon.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sean. Congrats.
Okay, Mr. Pierce.
It's all right, Mayor. I invited Travis to come talk about our next, Russell Jackson. Russ, why don't you come on up as well?
Sounds good. Nope, sounds good. No, I'm excited and happy tonight to get to introduce Russell Jackson. Most of you probably already all know Russell. He's been around a long time. I'm going to read his nomination, then I want to say a few more words. But it says, Russ is an unheralded hard worker. He has helped the GIS division in so many ways. He's asked to wear a ton of hats. He helps with Blue Stakes as-built, GIS surveying, and so much more. He is phenomenal in helping get our GIS mapping server set up. His expertise has been invaluable. Every time there's a massive problem with GIS that is difficult to solve, Russ has been invaluable in solving those issues. He doesn't get enough credit for all he does for Spanish Fork City, and that's why I'm nominating him, because he deserves some recognition for all that he does for the GIS division. A lot of you guys don't know, Russ has worked here for going on 25, 26 years, 23 of them full-time. He's wore about as many hats as you can at a city. He's worked in the power department on the boring crew. He worked in the fleet. He worked with our liquid utilities back when it was all combined into one. Then he was the lead blue staker for a number of years, in which he had to deal with the I-15 core project, which was late nights, I can imagine. Lots of late nights, long hours, making sure our utilities were safe and protected. He does so much. We can go out on any job site, and when no one can figure out what the utilities are doing, Russ somehow knows what those utilities are doing. Whether he's pulling out his witch sticks or just going off of memory, he's invaluable to keeping our city functioning and the utilities all working well. And now we've transitioned him into a role with GIS, and he's been amazing at that too. So so excited to introduce Russ Jackson.
Not a big speech giver, but if you have questions, I'm happy.
Any questions for Russ?
Out of all the hats you've wore here, what's been one of your favorites?
They've all had their own aspects, but I've enjoyed all of them.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Yeah. I thought he was going to say the new Post Malone hat. That's the hat he was going to. Well, how many years did you say? That's
25, 26?
So
the stretch.
23, well, just over 23 full-time. Mm-hmm. I worked for about two and a half in motor pools mechanic. It was about 17-ish years public safety on the fire department and ambulance.
Wow. Yeah. You have done it all. That's awesome.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of departments I haven't worked for.
That's incredible.
Well, well-deserved. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Russ.
Congratulations.
You better. They made it. You ready? Nope. Okay. Here we go. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, family and friends and coworkers. Those are always great parts of a council meeting, and it's just like what every one of those individuals said. It is long long days and long nights, and it's not lost on us up here, just like it isn't on you, that it's a family ordeal. So thank you. Those are some pretty special people, and it's a great thing to be able to honor them publicly, and hopefully give them a little money for it, right? So thank you. We won't be offended if anybody needs to leave after this. This agenda might go into the wee hours of the night or morning, depending on. Okay, it won't go in the morning, but we won't be offended if people take off after that. Thank you. Public comment section of the agenda.
Mayor, we have the one item just above the Utah Recreation Parks Awards.
It's not on the printed. It's not on the.
I was looking at printed.
It's not on the other as well.
I'm on the digital.
You go digital?
Oh, it is public content. Yeah.
The IRPA Awards.
Oh yes. Okay, I've got that. Are you doing that? Is Dale doing that? Okay, perfect. I did see them here. I was wondering, do they just like to come to? Yeah. These are some good folks here, Dale.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn the time over to our Utah Recreation and Parks Association representatives. Leanne, you guys take it away.
All right.
Thanks for coming down.
We're happy to be here. Thank you, Mayor Mendenhall and the council. We appreciate you carving out a couple of minutes for us to come and celebrate some great leaders in your community. So, as Dale mentioned, my name is Leanne Powell. I'm the Executive Director of the Utah Recreation and Parks Association. Janelle Payne is our URPA President-elect and is the Recreation Director in South Jordan. So the two of us will be doing a couple of awards for you guys tonight. So at URPA, we represent about 2,000 parks recreation professionals throughout the state of Utah. And each year as we lead up to our annual conference, we take nominations for a number of different awards. So this year we had about 90 nominations for awards in 11 different categories. And so we're here to present two of those categories tonight to some outstanding rock star parks and recreation professionals. Before I do that, I would like to just take a moment and recognize Dale and Bronco and all of the Parks and Recreation team, because they are doing absolutely amazing work. And we love in Parks and Recreation, we feel like we are the connectors of people. Like you look at all of your great spaces, the rodeo grounds, the new City Fit Center, the parks, the trails, the golf course, all of the places are the places where your community connects. And it makes a difference to have those great parks and recreation professionals that are running and programming all of those spaces and those places for that to happen. So we're very proud of our parks and recreation professionals, and we understand that this work does not happen in a vacuum. And it takes the leadership, city leadership, the mayor, the council, city administration, to buy into the importance of parks and recreation. So part of our reason for being here tonight is to thank you for that support, and honestly, you're the only city council members that come down to our Utah Recreation and Parks Association conference, and you're there and you're meeting people and you're seeing best practices and you're bringing them back to your city and to your community. So we really appreciate that support. Your Parks and Recreation professionals really appreciate that support, and it shows in your community. That investment in Parks and Recreation is an investment in all of your people in your community. So thank you very much for that. And I will let Janelle do the first award, the Innovation of the Year.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Again, this is a treat. I love to brag on my own staff, but to see statewide the amazing initiatives and efforts taking place is awesome. And I'll stick to the paper so I don't get off topic. But for the 2026 URPA Innovation of the Year, it was awarded to Rec Online. For more than 25 years, your city has developed and refined an in-house registration system. And what began as a local solution has grown into a powerful platform that rivals and in many ways outperforms a lot of the commercial recreation software out there. So thanks to the dedication and expertise of Susan Beckstrom and Jeremy Coe, Rec Online has continually evolved to meet the needs of a growing and dynamic community, most recently with the opening of the amazing FitCity Center, which I got to tour a little bit before this. It's awesome. The system has been expanded to manage memberships, daily admissions, reporting, and more. But beyond that technology, what makes it truly special is its impact. This is the system families use to sign up for programs, stay active, and stay connected in their community. In a field where many have tried and struggled to create seamless recreation software, Susan and Jeremy have built something remarkable. Their work has touched thousands of lives and stands as a model of innovation, dedication, and long-term vision. So for their collaboration, creativity, and more than 2 decades of commitment, URPA is proud to recognize Rec Online as the 2026 Innovation of the Year.
Wow.
Thank you. Wow. I just stand nowhere compared to him.
Okay.
That is cool.
Very cool. Good job, guys.
I'm not used to this. All right.
Don't get too spaced apart. This is family. Here we go. Thank you.
Good job, you guys. Thank you.
Pete, innovation of 27. If you twist that, it changes.
It's kind of interesting in our field to watch. We've worked with a group that's kind of been trying to create a solution like Rec Online for lots of different people, and I mean they're putting millions of dollars into a system. They've got people from Google and all the places around, like the best of the best, working on this, and they've only been able to get like one component in 3 years. So to look at the system that they have developed and that continually adapts, and then of course with the addition of your recreation center to then be able to do all of the in-house things that it's doing, it really is incredible. So great work there. So the second award that we're presenting tonight is for the 2026 URPA Facility of the Year, which is for your FitCity Center. And obviously, as you look around, everybody in this room understands what the dedication and sacrifice and all the things that had to come together to be able to build a beautiful facility, state-of-the-art facility like you have. I think one of the things in Parks and Recreation, we're kind of founded on 3 really important principles: conservation and sustainability, so being really good stewards of land and spaces and opportunities; health and wellness, like really understanding that we are all about health and wellness and trying to create the healthiest community possible; and then recreation for all, like intentionally going out and trying to make sure that we are providing opportunities for everybody in our community. And I think all 3 of those pillars have come together beautifully in your FitCity Center. And you just look at, just even looking at the name of the FitCity Center, right? Like just understanding that it's really about being emotionally and mentally and physically fit and trying to get everybody that comes into the door to find their fit, right? Like to what is it that's going to make you a better person and the best version of yourself? And trying to do that for every person in your community is really a standard that I think we all are looking for, and I think has definitely been accomplished with this facility. So we're just proud of the work that's gone into it, that it's finally open. Again, the dedication of this group to find the funding and to make it happen, and it's been over a decade of trying to put this together, and it's now finally open. We actually, Janelle and I got to tour it really quick right before we came here today, and I mean it's just wonderful to see the kids running around, people working out, people in the pool, and it's the vision that you all had has come to fruition, and we're just proud to be able to recognize it as the Facility of the Year, and your Parks and Recreation staff and Nick and the whole group that's making it run, and we'll put hours and hours into that to make it the best center in the state. So on behalf of URPA, we'd like to do the Facility of the Year as the FitCity Center for 2026. He needs an army. Bring them all up.
Put the tall people on the ends.
Says as to the middle. And then they don't have to get it works. It's really cool.
Bronco, push him in.
Come on, Matt.
You wore a tie for something.
Okay, here we go this way.
Good job. Way to go, guys.
You're so well spoken. You're going to laugh every day. You're going to laugh. Thank you. You're welcome.
Good job.
Hey, you don't just say the things you say.
Good job.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
They gotta be shared. Gotta be shared. Hey, thanks for letting your light. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sarcasm flow.
Well, that took out half the crowd.
I know you said that they could leave and you wouldn't feel bad, but I'm starting to feel bad. Like,
I saw Susan.
goodness gracious.
Is it because of that reel you made?
Thank you, Susan.
What?
With the pens, trying to get people
Maybe,
here?
yeah. Mayor, as the employees are leaving, and maybe it's too late for them to hear, but just to highlight to you, we have some great employees, some of the greatest, I think, that work on planet Earth. And it really is a joy to work with them. That project that they highlighted, the Rec Online, truly has been a 20-year endeavor, and not because we've never gotten it done, but because when we finish this, the rec department thinks of another way to use it, and then Jeremy works on that, and then they think of another way, and it really has been amazing. When we started the construction of this, we began the ideation of what software, and we did some research and very quickly found this program has things that we think we're going to like, and that program has some things, and that one does, but none of them have it all. And so to try to hijack perhaps the best from everyone, and both Jeremy on the programming side and Susan on the idea side and just the practicality side, really did a great job. So we're lucky to have them. So thanks for letting us take a moment and highlight them as well as those employees of the quarter.
Well, very cool. If you wonder about where the secret sauce of this city is, we always say up here that, it's that volunteer spirit that our citizens have in stepping in and helping each other, and that is what Spanish Fork's about. But boy, does it boil down to the employees too. They help each other out too. They're volunteers right alongside each other and all of us. But they do well at their job because they care that much about their job, and it shows. So just watching that part of council meeting, you'd get that from our employees. So couldn't be prouder to be a mayor and council and get to rub shoulders with you. So thank you so much. What a good way to start off a meeting. Anything else, council, before we go to public comments? Okay. Public comments section of the agenda tonight. This is anything that the public would like to come up and ask a question or state to the council. Doesn't if it's on the agenda and in a public hearing, come up during that time. But this is the public comment section to come up and let us know anything. Jack will keep us on time at 3 minutes to be respectful of everybody's time. But anybody that would like to come up for the public comment section tonight and address the mayor and council. Yes. Please state your name, Commissioner Warnick.
Hello, friends. I'm Shauna Warnick, and I'm a Spanish Fork super fan. I'm a citizen who wears a lot of hats in this community that I love, and I'm a professional volunteer, as many of you know. But tonight, I'm here as a grandma, and so my grandma hat is on. Thank you to everyone on the council and mayor and the wonderful professionals that do the work of supporting our city and making it the best place ever. It's funny because I'm here tonight to say thank you to our Parks and Recreation Department without knowing what the agenda was tonight. We love the FitCity Center. We use the parks and trails. We have been part of Rec Online since it began with all of our kids and all the activities all through the years. About the FitCity Center, I go to classes, we use the equipment, we walk on the track, we go to the pool, and we cannot wait until the outdoor pool is open this summer. And I have not yet used the pickleball court or basketball, but it's fun to watch people use them. And I really appreciate that the FitCity Center staff is responsive and that they're all we all know that this is a work in progress, and we appreciate that they open as early as they could, and it's awesome. The only feedback that I keep getting rejected on over and over again, because I know that there are a lot of really good professional conversations, and there's no way that I would ever go online bashing Spanish Fork City on social media. And I'm not bashing, I'm just here to have a little request. I take my toddler and preschooler and grandkids swimming 1 to 2 times per week, and it's a wonderful facility, and we love it at the FitCity Center, but we also go to 2 rec centers to the north of us because the pool is warmer. When I take them to the other 2, we swim comfortably for 1 to 2 hours, and when we go to the FitCity Center, and I keep coming back. I do keep trying, I promise. But they are shivery after about 30 minutes, and we don't get to stay as long as we'd like to. So the average temperatures, as I've investigated, are only about 5 to 8 degrees difference, which seems like not that big a deal, but it's surprising what a big difference that makes. And so, like I said, I know there's a lot of considerations to be had, but by professionals, but I'd really love to stop spending my money in other communities where here I'd like to keep investing. And so I would love to respectfully request that a 5-degree raise in heat for the recreation pool be considered. Thanks, friends.
Thank you, Shauna.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you for that. Duly noted, Shauna. We'll get the request to the right place.
I took notes.
Manager took notes. Perfect.
Everyone that has an answer just walked out the door.
But we will get them the information.
Yeah.
We'll run them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Let's go to council comments for tonight. We'll start at your end, Councilman Took, and work this way to Councilwoman Beck, if that's all right.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mayor. Good to see you all. Good to be with you, Spanish Fork. It's been a couple weeks, so it's fun to be back here. I do have a couple items, but before I get to those, I would like to give some time to our President of the Chamber of Commerce in Spanish Fork, Kathleen Leavitt.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I missed you the other week. I actually came down here. I was walking in, and I was like, it seems really quiet. But I walked upstairs, and it wasn't until I came back downstairs after it was all dark in here that I saw the sign on the building. So I missed you all. I was here without you. But I actually have a special treat for you tonight. It's a bit of a surprise. Sadly, everyone left before. But I had a business reach out, a local business that wanted to join me at council meeting this evening. So I have with us tonight nothing but cakes, and she did not come empty-handed. So Mary, if you will join me up here, and then I'll help you give out cake while you share.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Our Nothing But Cakes location here in Spanish Fork, we just passed our 1-year mark, and we're so happy to be here. I grew up here in the area, and I love the community here so much. We're so excited to get involved, and especially with the summer, with so many events coming up, we want to be present at all of your celebrations. We are happy to help you all celebrate anything from office parties, weddings, even small things like just a treat once a day. But please invite us to anything. And we love the Spanish Fork community and all of the exciting things that we have going, all the growth that's happening, and how much you all invest in your community. And we would love to support that and help you celebrate all of the fun achievements that are happening. And so yeah, I brought some cake with me today. We have like our top 4 flavors, but we have lots of other flavors in the store. You can stop by and try. But yeah, please try and spread the word. Hopefully next time we come, we'll get the cake out before everyone leaves. I've learned my lesson. But yeah, thank you all so much. 12.
I see your name. I think I see your name every day. I must drive by. Remind where you're located in town.
It's like right across from Costco, kind of between the T-Mobile and the Teriyaki Grill right
That's
there.
where it is.
So what are your hours?
We're open every day, Monday through Saturday, 9 to, we just extended our hours, so now we're open until 8, 9 to 8, and then on Sunday we're open from 10:30 to 6.
Great. I'm glad you guys extended your hours because I heard a couple of folks say, I wish they'd open later, so that was a good move.
Good, I'm so glad. Yeah, we're excited to be able to be accessible for everyone.
I went in last week and just got one cake to take home. Just the little cakelet, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
And I was in trouble because my husband said, are we supposed to share this? I said, yes. You get half. And he ate his right up and he's like, it's really good. I'm like, you're not getting my half.
It's hard to stop. It's dangerous to work there.
Yep. Chocolate chip is a good one.
So good. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
The red velvet is amazing. The Biscoff one is amazing. Addictive. I think is that the word you used? It's troublesome. Yeah.
I think you were the one that cued me on to the Biscoff cake there. I've been looking for it. They have a banana pudding one now. I was just in there earlier, which sounds delicious. I think it's in here. So, but anyways, I was super excited that Mary reached out to come and meet you all this evening. It's great to see our local businesses getting involved. And I am particularly really excited to have Nothing Bundt Cakes here in Spanish Fork. I remember when the closest one was in American Fork, and I'd be up there for meetings and stuff like that and make an excuse to stop there just because we didn't have one. And now I've lost that excuse, but I'm very grateful that it's here. Upcoming with the Chamber, we have some exciting events. On April 14th will be our next Women in Business connector. It'll be at 6 p.m. at Hotworks here in Spanish Fork, pretty close to Nothing Bundt Cakes. So that's April 14th. April 16th at noon will be our noon networking, sponsored by CC Bank, and we're actually hosting it at Mountain Mike's Pizza. CC Bank is going to be giving us the update on their new location and their groundbreaking. So they are super gung-ho to be here in Spanish Fork as well, and we're excited to support them. Next, after that, we have April 28th. The Advanced Learning Center is hosting a job fair with the Department of Workforce Services. That'll be April 28th from 3 to 7 p.m. So stop by if you have anybody interested in jobs or wanting to see what kind of talent we have here in Spanish Fork. Our business of the month for February was Dependable Door Systems. Super excited to celebrate that business. Thank you for joining us, Landon. That was great to have you. And then our business of the month for March is Sandstone Psychology. Last on my list is the Rotary Chamber Scholarship Golf Tournament. Will be May 13th, and I hope this weather stays because it would be great to have a golf tournament like it is outside right now. So keep all your fingers crossed for us for May 13th for a fantastic scholarship golf tournament this year. And that's all I've got for you guys.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank you, Kathleen. And I will do a better job moving forward informing you of when meetings are and when they're not. So that's on me, and I will. Thanks for coming. We appreciate you both. Thank you. Well, just a couple items from me in my areas of responsibility I'd like to share with the city tonight. So first off, I was able to attend the Spanish Fork Fire and Emergency Annual Banquet a couple weeks ago, and Chief Ellis, congratulations. It was amazing to recognize so many of your crew and your force for doing amazing things, and so it was fun to be part of that. Also able to attend a couple conferences and trainings recently, the Parks and Recreation one we had, and then also one with Councilman Cardin. We were able to go back to Washington, D.C. and do some amazing things for Spanish Fork City, and it was special to me and a really neat experience. So if he wants to share more, I'll let him on that one, but I know we're kind of tight on time, so I've got to move on to a couple other items, but I did want to make sure I highlighted one of them, and that is on April 4th, we have the Easter egg hunt, the Spanish Fork City sponsored Easter egg hunt. Very excited about this at the baseball park, same location. Thank you, Jack. There it is up on the screen. You can see more details about it. 8 to 10, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Be early. We do all sorts of different events besides just the Easter egg hunt itself, but it's a really fun experience to make some memories, and so please come and join us. All are welcome. And so we'd love to see you there. We'll be doing some fun new things with it this year. Spanish Fork runs that. So that same day on the 4th, we will also have that evening the Miss Spanish Fork pageant. We have 8 contestants. The mayor's already worked with them, I've been told, and they're incredible, to no surprise. And so I just love supporting that program, the Little Miss program as well. So Spanish Fork High School, 7 p.m., April 4th. So just that night, you could do Easter egg in the morning and beauty pageant in the evening. And I invite you to both. Please come support us with those. And the last item that I had is just kind of a question, maybe, Mayor, for you. I noticed on the news last night that one of our Maple Mountain High School students named Palmer Brandt, he was selected to perform in the Honor Band of America, and it was on the news, and it was kind of a big deal. And I don't know Palmer, but I thought maybe at some point we should bring him in and recognize him, and say congratulations and do a little thing. So something to look into.
I saw that for a minute, and I wondered. I don't know him either, but
yeah.
we'll get in touch with the principal and get him down here. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Wonderful, perfect. Well, that's all I have. So thank you, Mayor.
Perfect. Thank you, Councilman Took. Councilman Cardin.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think that while that's still up there, the Easter egg hunt, one of the things to point out for our citizens is at 9:30 a.m. there will be an adaptive field. So for anybody who has any special needs or any other help needed for doing an Easter egg hunt that's not there, there is a spot to go on there to put some information about that so that we know how many to plan for. There is some slight changes, like Councilman Took talked about, with the Spanish Fork City taking back over the Easter egg hunt. The Chamber of Commerce ran it for many years. Before that, it was a city, and so it's kind of just coming back home, I guess you could say. And so there's going to be some things done a little bit differently, but you can go to the website and get more information about that as well. A couple of things just to go over real quick. There's a couple events coming up. The youth theater in the city is going to be doing their version of Frozen coming up at the end of the month, March 30th through April 3rd. And then our chorale is going to be doing their Easter performance on Sunday the 29th. Sorry, not Sunday. But that is up in Provo. It's a little bit away, but they are doing that on March 29th. So I want to make sure everyone was aware of those. And then as Councilman Took, while I can speak, talked about, we were able to go out to Washington, D.C., and I actually got the privilege to take my son out with me. His name is Gavin, and it actually happened to be his birthday the day that we were meeting with all of our delegation. So this is with Congresswoman Malloy, who doesn't represent us yet, but she represents the state of Utah. And they made him feel like a rock star. They sang him happy birthday. They got him into the Library of Congress, which we didn't have tickets for because their dad didn't plan well, or his dad didn't plan well. And we were able to do that. Senator Curtis, if you know Senator Curtis and something he's famous for, it's his crazy socks. And so Gavin got a pair of Stance socks for his birthday from Senator Curtis, and they are labeled with his label on them. They're not even just normal labeled socks. Pretty kind of cool. And then we were also able to meet with Congressman Owens, who this is his last year in there, and Gavin got to wear the ring. And we don't admit it often, but we are a Raiders fan family, and so that was nice to see the Raiders ring that was before I was born, but we still are Raiders fans. The other thing that was really cool about going back out there is we were talking about a lot of the needs that are going on in our city, specifically around our airport and some of the funding needs that we have there with Taxiway Bravo, a tower, some of the things that Councilwoman Beck and I get to talk about quite often with our airport board. The great thing is that our Utah delegation is very aware of those. They are trying to help with those. They're trying to help us find ways to make that happen quicker because they see the need that we have here in Spanish Fork and the growth that's happening. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Very good. Thank you for that good work. Appreciate it. Councilman Euler.
Thank you, Mayor. I sent Jack a photo. We'll go ahead and start with that one. As one of the committee assignments that I have on City Council is to serve on the senior board down at our senior center, and this has given me a chance over the past 5 years to really get to know a lot of incredible and amazing seniors that live in our community. Some of you may know Gordon, some of you may not. I'm going to introduce you to Gordon Warner. Gordon has been a cornerstone down at our senior center for a very, very long time, and sadly, he passed away 2 weeks ago, and his funeral was today. But just wanted to express my condolences to Gordon's family, to the Warner family, and let them know that he will be missed down at our center. Gordon was born in 1923, so do the math. So just short of 103 years old, which is incredible. The history and the things that he's experienced in his life, World War II and many other things. So just wanted to recognize him. What a great asset he's been to our community. One of the reasons I mentioned Gordon, besides expressing, condolences to his family, is we have a few centenarians in Spanish Fork. And I'm reaching out to the community, which is each of you, all of you up here, anybody that's watching, with a request. I would love to find a way within Spanish Fork as a community to recognize and honor our centenarians. I know in the past we've had them in the parade. They've been an entry and they've been recognized in our 24th of July parade. But I would love some ideas from the community on how we can recognize these amazing individuals that live in Spanish Fork. I know we have a few. And so if you've got ideas, if you've got suggestions, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to me, either by email or even give me a call or a text, and give me your ideas, give me your suggestions on how we can honor those that have hit the century mark within Spanish Fork. So just wanted to open that invitation to the community. So start thinking, let the wheels turn. We've had multiple conferences. March is a busy month for the council. I attended last week the water conference down in St. George and our power conference. It's pretty incredible how much water and power go hand in hand. And so we talk about the drought and how that's going to affect watering our lawns, but we don't often make the correlation between how the drought affects our power and what we're able to provide as power. And so a lot of things that were learned, a lot of great presentations that were given. We have a lot of water, thanks to 2023, in our reservoirs to get us through the summer. But let's hope that we don't have another record winter like we had this past year. They mentioned, one of the takeaways that I got was that they mentioned the chance of having a record year is less than 1%. And within 3 years, we've broken 2 records. In 2023, we had a less than 1% chance of having the most snowpack that we've ever had on record. And 3 years later, Mother Nature set another record this past winter with the least amount of snowpack that we've ever had in the mountains. So pretty amazing. So we discussed how we can help get the message out to the community on conservation, different ideas on what we can do. I know Paul Taylor, who is one of our water experts here in the city, I think he's going to be reaching out to you, Jack. If not, let's get together and start to form a message that we can share with the community on ideas and ways that we can all help contribute with conservation and being water-minded throughout this summer, which could be a very interesting summer. Last comment, and I'll share this more in our next council meeting, but we've met as a board for the animal shelter. We're currently putting together our budget for the upcoming year. Our next shelter board meeting will be a public hearing where the public can come and hear and speak about the budget. So I'll share those details next council meeting with everybody, so you're all on board and aware of what the budget will look like for the upcoming year. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Perfect. Thank you, Councilman Orther. Appreciate that. Councilwoman Beck.
I think everything has been covered, but as you've all listened, there's been a lot of conferences. 3 of you have been in Washington, D.C. Most of us have been down to St. George, and this is taking time away from full-time jobs, and I just want to say thank you to the council and mayor. It's a lot of work. I think a lot of people think that city council is just, a meeting twice a month right up here. But besides the 5+ boards we each sit on, then also at conferences. So thank you for taking the time away from your day jobs and your family. And then also staff. Many of you guys are at these conferences as well and taking time away. And I think Mayor said it beautifully earlier when the secret sauce is our volunteers, but it's also our employees. So thank you, everybody. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilwoman Beck. Appreciate that. Ditto what's been said. You guys covered a lot of it, and thank you for going to your meetings and your conferences and reporting back to us. I'll touch on the Easter egg hunt coming up. Susan Romero, thanks for being willing to take that back on as well, and come back to the city and get businesses involved and be there to have a great time with kids. I can't believe it hasn't been said. It will be said after the Easter egg hunt, but it starts at what time again?
8 o'clock.
And ends at
8:08 and then 30 seconds.
You usually have that. You usually, yeah. So it's quick. So be there with plenty of time to get your kids out on the field because it goes pretty quick. But thank you for that. I sent Jack a picture about a couple of meetings just yesterday. Was with the stock show folks again down at the fairgrounds. It's 102 years of the stock show, and they put this banquet on every year to raise some money for scholarships for kids that are going into a field that deals with animals and with agriculture. And so it's always great to welcome them. The report I got from the Legacy Dinner was that over $22,000 raised last night at that auction. It's been over $100,000 raised in the last 3 years. Pretty heartwarming to see people bid on things and then just say, "We'll give you the money," and put it up for bid again. And it's just to raise money for kids that are going into that. They're showing animals and keeping that heritage and history alive, and then going into it for profession. And so it's cool. It's alive and well. It's as big and better than it ever has been. They honored my 4th grade teacher, Jerry Hill, last night with a legacy award, and his family, very deserving. He forgot that I was the mayor, and he couldn't believe that it could ever happen. And I said, well, I didn't tell anybody to come talk to my 4th grade teacher when I was running for election. So just full of good families and good people there. And we're excited for that livestock show. Again, 102nd year, Thursday, April 28th, through Saturday, May 2nd. And then on the 2nd, they'll sell those animals, and fun to watch the kids do that. So cool to see. We talked to them about the investments being made down at the fairgrounds and just getting bigger and better in stalls and barns and everything else to continue that heritage. We appreciate the partnership with Utah County down there. I mentioned it to Councilman Took. After that, I don't have any pictures of this, but Miss Spanish Fork. Hey, Miss Spanish Fork is always good. These are some stellar young women. We got to ask them some questions. They did some interviews. The future's bright. We can't lose by picking one of these girls and their attendance. They were wonderful, well-spoken, and intelligent young women. It stood out, every one of them, when they talked about service, whether they were from Spanish Fork for a long time, and a few of them have only been here a few years. They said what they feel about Spanish Fork is what you already felt tonight, a service-oriented community, and they're excited to be chosen to serve. Even if they're not chosen, they're excited to serve alongside their peers in Spanish Fork. And so, like Councilman Took said, come buy a ticket and watch these young ladies next Saturday.
Saturday the 4th. Yeah.
The 4th. You won't be disappointed. They were top notch. So, and thank you to the folks who put that on, Rachaline, Barbara Peterson, and
Jen Olson. Just
amazing
directors,
fantastic people. So thank you. Okay, that takes care of council comments tonight. Staff reports, Manager Perrins, do we have anything from staff that we're going to follow up on?
Just one brief item, no follow-up from previous meetings, but maybe one of the most important look forwards on a week from today, Tuesday, March 31st. Rodeo tickets go on sale at 9 a.m. Not quite as fast as the Easter egg hunt, but pretty close. Tickets really started moving about 4 years ago, and we didn't really expect that kind of a phenomenon to sell out 5 nights of rodeo in a week, 2 weeks, let alone in a day. Last year was the last. Last year we used an in-house system for rodeo ticket sales. This year we're using an outside vendor. And so if you go to sfcitytix.com, just like always, that's where you can go to find our tickets. But the back end of this will be a different platform than our ticket purchasers will remember. So it'll be a little bit different. There will be some, I'm sure, that will be disappointed because new is different, and different may be frustrating. So to help them, we've put out today, and we've got in a few different places, the ability to kind of see what people need to do. Jack, you want to tell us, since you're there? You want to annotate?
Yeah, so if you're here on this page, so I went to sfcitytix.com, down to the events, the rodeo, and then tickets there. And at 9 p.m., you'll see a different, or 9 a.m. on March 31st, you'll see a different box here that says enter your email address to enter the queue. So as fast as you can do that, that'll determine your position in the queue. And right away, a message will pop up that tells you what number you are in the queue and when you can expect an email with a link that you can click to purchase tickets. So it may say at 9:30 a.m., so in 30 minutes, you can expect to get that email, depending on where you are in terms of being right at 9 a.m. So you'll click on that email, and then you'll enter in and be able to purchase tickets, select seats. You'll see a little timer at the top that'll give you either 5 or 10 minutes in different areas. So you can select tickets. I think you have 5 minutes to do that, and then 5 minutes to check out once you have selected those. So you can select tickets for multiple nights. You can see what's in your cart, and you can check out. It should be a pretty harmless experience.
Thank you. One of the things that I haven't loved is some of the frustrations that our patrons have had, and so certainly this should be a big step forward. I buy tickets every year to football games at a university here in Utah Valley, and I really appreciate that I'm told what minute I have to purchase my ticket, so I'm not waiting. This is, although there will be some anticipation, you enter your email address, get your code, but if it says you're in the queue and you'll get an email at 10 o'clock, you can walk away. Go do something for an hour, then at 10 o'clock you'll get that email, you'll have the ability to log in. So you don't have to sit there and wait. You can go do whatever you need to do and come back at the time that's appointed. And there are a couple of things that we're trying as a rodeo committee to enhance the experience. We've really narrowed down the number of scalpers. We think scalper purchase tickets. A couple of years ago, there were more than a few thousand tickets purchased by scalpers. Last year, we think there were just maybe between 500 and 1,000, and we've done a few more things to ratchet that down. Why that matters to all of us as customers is, if somebody wants to buy a lot of tickets, they will have some limitations. If you're just buying tickets for your family for a couple of nights, you won't run into any of these issues. But if you're trying to buy 40 or 50, I can't remember the number, but there will be some things that change for you and how you get your tickets. And that is to ensure that we are not selling tickets to some scalper that will turn right around and gouge our residents for tickets to their rodeo. Every year we hear from residents complaining to us that they can't believe that we have raised rodeo tickets to $80 or $90 a seat. And if you are buying rodeo tickets for $80 or $90 a seat, you're buying them aftermarket, and you're buying from somebody that's taking advantage of you. So don't do that. Or if that's all that's left, I guess maybe that's what you do. But that's not us. So sfcitytix.com is where you buy tickets. And it's popular enough that when you Google the Fiesta Days Rodeo, there are other sites that show up on top. They pay to get their name up there. That's not us. So that's what you do. And anyways, it should be great. I'm hoping. Yeah. If you have any complaints, send those to the mayor.
Yeah. And we will get them. But there is your public reminder in an official meeting when tickets go on sale.
Tuesday, March 31, 9 a.m. Enter your email address and get in line.
There you go. We've called it. I've called it in the past the Taylor Swift of rodeos because we sell out faster than a Taylor Swift concert. Now it's called the Post Malone of rodeos because I'm sure he sells out tickets too, and he came to our rodeo. But regardless, whatever you put in front of it, is the Fiesta Days rodeo.
Yeah, I think he needs to change his name to Fiesta
Maybe
Malone.
somebody. Yeah.
That's probably better.
That's
for
what we're
him.
known.
Fiesta Malone.
It will sell out, and it will sell out in a hurry. And credit to Nick Hanks and Dale and the Diamond Fork Riding Club and the whole crew that makes this come together. The sponsors, the businesses that sponsor this. It is a top 10 rodeo in the PRCA, and it will not disappoint this year again. So get your tickets, and would love to see everybody there. Thank you, Manager Perrins. Takes us to number 7 on our agenda, the Spanish Fork 101, food for fines. I think this is a library thing, not a police thing. Is it a police? It's not a police thing, Rudd? Okay, it's a library thing.
Yeah, we don't send cops to doors anymore to collect on overdue fines.
Did you ever do that, Lance? Was that ever an assignment to you? Okay.
Lance never did that, but it was a thing, and I think it made the news
Like a
at
real
one
thing.
point.
Yeah, it was.
In Spanish Fork?
A few years ago.
Like legit book cop, like Seinfeld,
There
right?
you got fines.
the book cop. But,
We had a few. We had a few personalities that were.
Oh my God.
we could find a few people we could deputize.
I want my $2.
We don't want to do that. We want to do the opposite, right? We want to make it easier, and if we can find a way to help make the community a little bit better and pay forward, great. For the last several years, in fact, in my entire tenure at the library, we've done a program we called Food for Fines. Typically, we do it in October, which is a way for residents to come in and pay down balances on their account for overdues or lost or damaged materials by donating food or other items that we then give to Tabitha's Way. The last year, we did 2 different periods throughout the year to provide an additional opportunity for residents to pay down their balances. And we have some patrons that wait for food for fines, and they come in and bring in a bunch of donated goods to pay down their balance. Starting this month of March, we've changed it, and we are now going to do food for fines year-round. So rather than having 2 or 1 specific periods in the year where patrons can come in and donate, they can do it any time of the year. It's a great opportunity for these patrons, right, to reduce the balance that's on their account and get in good standing so they can continue to use the library while also benefiting other members of our community who may be in need of food or other materials or supplies. We prorate, or I guess not prorate, but we have different tiers for the credit that will apply based off of the items that Tabitha's Way needs most. So, for example, if they need a 5-pound bag of sugar really badly, we'll give you more credit to your account for that as opposed to the can of, black beans or whatever that you bring in. So we're really excited that we can work with Tabitha's Way and do this year round and hopefully benefit not only library patrons, but also other members of the community, and also help facilitate continued use of the library and not have fines be a prohibitive thing for individuals in the community. One thing I'm going to add, not related to food for fines, I get it's a long agenda tonight, but we're really excited. 2 weeks ago, we got notice from Meta. We had applied for a grant to create a 3D printing lab at the library. It's one thing that we commonly get asked when we do surveys of patrons. Hey, what are some services that we could add to the library that would interest you? We regularly get asked about 3D printing. It's becoming more and more common in other libraries. So we submitted a grant through Meta saying, hey, will you help us create a 3D printing lab? Our grant was funded, partially funded. And so we're going to be, in the next few months, creating this 3D printing lab in one of our teen program spaces. We'll be buying some furniture and some laptops and printers and filament and all that good stuff. But there's one thing that we really need, which is volunteers that can come in and help teach programming to members of our community. A lot of the programs that we do at the library are volunteer-based. So we have a Spanish class that's going on right now that's led by volunteers. Every week we have a programming class for tweens where they come in and learn the basics of programming. And that class has been taught for 7 years from 2 gentlemen that work for Qualtrics, and they volunteer an hour of their time every week to come teach a bunch of 8 to 12-year-olds how to program. We've got gardening classes, we've got cooking classes, we've got all of these different classes that are led by volunteers, and we appreciate the volunteerism and that spirit that's within our community. So now we're reaching out to other individuals in the community that maybe have a special interest in 3D printing or 3D modeling that would be able to come in and volunteer a little bit of time so that they can teach the 8 to 12-year-olds and the teens and even adults some of these skills on how to model objects using software and then how to print those things. So if you or someone you know is really into 3D printing and modeling and would like to volunteer a little bit of your time in teaching some of these programs to our community members, we would really appreciate it. So I posted a QR code where you can fill out a volunteer form so that we can understand your skill set and your interest, and we can start developing some programs and some scheduling for some of those things. We'll also have open hours where you can reserve a 3D printer and you can come in and print your little doodad, whatever it is that you're wanting to 3D print for your kids, or maybe some more useful things for around the house and whatnot. So we're excited for the public aspect, public use aspect, as well as the programming aspect, and appreciative of the grant that we got from Meta to do this. So any questions on Food for Finds or the 3D lab?
I told my 11-year-old about the 3D lab program. He's excited.
Nice.
And I'm excited to learn how to do it. We've got a 3D printer. And everything I've attempted so far, not good. I need the class.
I was going to say,
I need the class.
I know your 11-year-old. I think he could be down here teaching.
He probably could. Yeah.
Scott, will there be a fee to attend this class, or how will that work?
Yeah, we haven't decided about for the programs. Most of our programs we don't charge a fee for it, right? Some of our after-hours events and special events that we do for adults will charge a nominal, like $5 admission fee, that sort of thing. We'll certainly charge for materials,
okay, that's
right?
what I was wondering.
So even if you reserve the 3D printer to print your thing, you'll pay X, number of cents per gram of filament that you use, that sort of thing. But if we'll charge for the class, that's something that we're still working on. Obviously, we want to make it accessible to as many people as possible, but there are consumables that are being used, and we need these programs and services to be sustainable. So we'll at least have to charge for the material cost. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Appreciate that. Good information. Okay. Anything else on the agenda before we move to consent items? Okay, consent items are A through I tonight. Any questions about anything on the consent items from the council? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent items.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilwoman Beck.
Second.
Second by Councilman Took. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
The consent items.
Mayor,
Yes.
because we have some resolutions on there, can we do a roll call vote?
We'll start with Councilman Took.
Yes.
Councilman Cardin.
Yes.
Councilman Euler.
Yes.
And Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
Thank you, Katera. That is approved. The consent items are done. Takes us to public hearing tonight. We have items A, B, C, D, and E tonight for public hearing. We will get
This
started.
is what it looks like when you cancel 2 meetings.
This is what it does. It doubles your public hearing. That's
No.
correct. Yep.
There was one item on that agenda, and that was in consent.
So it quadruples it. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, probably there is some added because it ripened between the last Tuesday to now. So there probably are 1 or 2 items that wouldn't have been on this agenda had we had council meeting last week. Yeah. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Thank you, Dave, for being here. This is item A, the ordinance to approve a zone change for the villas at Annie's Acres.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. This proposal involves an addition to what is currently approved with the Villas at Annie's Acres project. It's a 2.14 acre addition, which allows for the construction of additional homes in the project and also allows for a really important road connection, the connection of Volunteer Drive, and ultimately, say, coming from Main Street over to River Bottoms Road. The subject property is identified here with that yellow shade. There aren't a lot of landmarks around the area. Maybe this today is the best one. The FitCity Center is about a half a mile to the west of the subject property in the Villas at Annie's Acres development. A little different image there, showing the platted part of the Villas at Annie's Acres. It's one part of what's before the council tonight. There is the ordinance to approve a zone change. That pertains to the 2.14 acres that I mentioned earlier, that part that would be the addition, which incidentally, a public hearing is required for that item. For the other part of the project, we listed under public hearing items just kind of for ease of discussion and administration, amending the preliminary plat, which really applies to this somewhat larger area. That is the design of the development and how that would change with the addition of these couple of acres. There's not a public hearing required for that, but that's another part, an important part of what we'd like the council to consider tonight. This image, let's say particularly the one on the left there, does a good job of identifying, again, the area that we're talking about. The proposed zoning map amendment involves this area right here that is still zoned rural residential. Until recently, that was owned by a different property owner. And with the conveyance of that property now, we can work as the city to make the road connection that I described earlier, and the remaining part of the property that's not needed for Volunteer Drive can be, I think, very, very appropriately and beneficially used as part of the Villas at Annie's Acres development. But indeed, that area that's identified with that green color there, which signifies the rural residential zone, that would change to the orange color. That's to the south of it. That's the R16 zone. The master plan development overlay would be applied to it as well as part of what's identified in the proposed zone change ordinance. Just a couple of other images here I'll touch on quickly. So with this particular image, north is to the left of the map. So this is the north side. So what we're seeing right here, that is the continuation of Volunteer Drive. Incidentally, this is the currently approved Villas at Annie's Acres plat. So this space that we see right here, that's what we're talking about. And you can see the difference between approved and proposed. It's kind of subtle, unless you know what you're looking for. I think that's a good thing. As proposed, the additional homes in the Villas at Annie's Acres will be consistent with what's under construction now elsewhere in the project, what's approved for the remaining part of the project. I don't think that from the outside looking in, probably notice much of a difference. But again, I think it's a really big difference in terms of using that property efficiently and in terms of the additional infrastructure that can be constructed. Any questions about that? That's really all that I have. Both the Development Review Committee and the Planning Commission have reviewed both the zone change and the proposed amended preliminary plat and have recommended that they be approved. If council is inclined to take action on the items, this is a proposed motion with suggested findings and conditions for the zone change.
Dave, maybe you can go back to the preliminary plat. Bradford Lane's probably the scariest road I've ever driven on in Spanish Fork. What changes does this, or what improvements, I guess I should say, does this make with Bradford Lane?
So from what's currently approved, really no significant change at all. It does allow for the construction of the, I would say not the construction of, but the improvement of additional Bradford Lane frontage to the north with the land that becomes incorporated into the project. So Bradford Lane, in part, will be developed to city standards on the west side of the road, as is customary when.
So it looks like, are they reducing the curve? You've got that blind curve towards the south end of the project as you get close to South Lane. Are they reducing the curve and improving the road in that area?
I don't know if this will show it very well. It really doesn't. And Mr. Pierce, I'll let you jump in if you'd like. Let me get that.
I think the alignment generally stays the same, but the road will be widened. Today, as you go on that tight curve, it almost feels like a one lane. It's,
yeah, it does.
Pretty scary. This would widen out. I think it's worth noting, too, that connecting and going north with Bradford Lane to that Volunteer Drive extension, River Bottoms Road, that intersection that's on a weird skewed angle, today it can really clean up and make that a usable intersection with a lot of safety improvements.
Good. Thank you.
Any more questions for Dave before the applicant and public hearing? Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
If the applicant's here and would like to speak before we go into public hearing, more than welcome to.
Hi, I'm Dave Erickson with Leisure Villas. I'll just be really brief. David did a good job on explaining this. I think one thing that I think is important to note on this is that bringing the Mills property into the existing community or existing approved community eliminates any potential road connections onto that future commuter on Volunteer Drive and brings it internal into our project instead of going out onto the road, which I think is a pretty big plus in terms of traffic and safety. Lower density than what might have been developed were it to be rezoned for townhomes. So it's one of those situations I think is a win-win for all of us. Any questions for me, but that's kind of our perspective on why this makes sense. Thanks.
Questions for Mr. Erickson? Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, it's probably worth noting to your question, Councilman Euler, that with the amendment that we're talking about tonight, this is focused, as I think Dave was saying there, to that
north end
parcel just on the north end. So everything along Bradford Lane from that north parcel to the south, it was previously approved, and I don't think we're changing. I don't think anything's changing about that. Correct?
That preliminary plat.
So that's already, that's historically what was approved. There are some adjustments, of course, as Corey I think outlined with the acquisition of this property and the ability to realign Bradford Lane so that it connects with that future Volunteer Lane at a point that is a little bit further to the west, and will connect with a cross section that will be more like a true T intersection, a four-way intersection rather than having any offsets, certainly like it has. So that I think is helpful to know.
If I can add as well, I had a chance to pull open the plans in a little more detail as we were talking. It does straighten out the south end of that curb on Bradford Lane on the south. So it does bring that south end a little further west that will straighten out that bend.
Good. That'll be better. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd entertain a motion to go into public hearing for item A.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Cardin.
Second.
Second by Councilman Euler. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
We're in public hearing for item A. Make sure if you're speaking to this item, state your name so Tara can get it, and Jack will keep us straight on trying to keep to 3 minutes. Please come up if anybody's here to speak about item A.
Diane Garcia. My property is to the east of this, and that intersection, most of that intersection is in my legal description. I own it. I pay taxes on it. So I have not received any detailed drawings as to how that is going to work. Can't be dedicated to the city as a road if I own it. Nobody has approached me or spoken to me about that, so I don't know how that alignment is going to work. That is dangerous. Several weeks ago, there was a very serious accident there late at night because someone was speeding. They hit that big cement barrier and split it in half, and it went in the canal. Their car spun around. I'm surprised they didn't wipe out all my fencing, and there were police and fire there for a long time. I don't know the status of the person, but I know they got injured. So it is very dangerous, and as is, and hopefully the new plans will be better. Also, every time I come up here, I remind everyone that there is a drainage pipe that goes through this, and that it is associated with a water right, and that you can't just rip it out and ignore it or replace it or change or divert it. And so if that is disturbed or not taken care of properly, the whole area will be flooded because there's constant water flowing there. The other part, Bradford Lane. So once again, I own to the center line of Bradford Lane. It's in my legal description. I pay taxes on it. And I am in an ag protection area, and I'm also a designated historic site with the National Park Service. So I have federal protection and state protection with the ag protection. So something to think about. Bradford Lane can't be dedicated as a street unless something's done about the ownership. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Jackie Larson. So I have a few specific questions and concerns about the proposal I think need to be answered before approval is given. So back in October, when this corridor went before MAG for corridor preservation, I asked a simple question of how much of this parcel is actually being required for the future road, and would the full width come from this property that I believe is still owned by the city currently. At that time, I was told that the exact corridor and right-of-way width were not yet known, which is completely normal for early planning stages. But today, we're just a few months later, and we're being presented with a plan that appears to assume a defined road width and alignment, despite the fact that this road is still identified as a Phase 3 needs-based corridor. So my question is, what changed? And how do we know that the required width well enough to design around it when we didn't know it 4 to 5 months ago? So when I look at the plans, they're not clear, and it makes it really hard to read. But is the full width of the road being accommodated on the city-owned parcel, and what is that width? So second issue, like Diane had mentioned, was the water, and it's not a minor detail, and it's not new, and it hasn't been resolved. So when this project previously came before City Council in August of 2024, I raised concerns about the court-decreed water conveyance that runs through this property and ultimately feeds into the mill race at the fairgrounds. Shortly after that meeting, the developer created an LLC, what they've called the Blind Slough LLC, and represented it as if it existed prior to that discussion, although they completed the business registration 10 days later. So that timing matters here because it raises serious questions about whether that was created after the fact to insulate liability rather than to address the underlying issue. So regardless of what it's called, it's not the Blind Slough, it's actually part of a functioning court-decreed drainage and irrigation system known as a mosquito drain. So that matters because this water is legally protected point of delivery. It must continue to flow to the mill race and not be redirected into the Spanish Fork River. It can't be altered, impaired, or reclassified through development processes. So as of today, it hasn't been reviewed by the Westfield Irrigation Company or cleared through the state engineer's office. And the legal obligation tied to that water right has not been resolved. But this keeps continuing to move forward as if it has been. So I'm just asking that you require that the entire road width be fully accommodated on the city-owned parcel before approval. Maybe it has been. Do not approve this tonight until the court-decreed water conveyance is formally reviewed and cleared by the irrigation company and the state engineer. Require formal clearances of the water conveyance before any development moves forward, and require bonding and design standards that meet the irrigation company requirements. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else for item A? Okay, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilwoman Beck.
Second.
Second by Councilman Cardin. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
We're out of public hearing. Discussion back up here for item A.
Where do we want to start? Corey, do you want to address the road width?
Which aspect?
All of the above. The half of it falls under Miss Garcia's. She's paying taxes on it. It's under her name.
That's quite common in the county, and as we have properties come into the city where descriptions that are taxing descriptions go over the roadway. We're just widening to the west in this case. but also if a record of survey was done on the property. Surveys typically will go to the fence line. So while, yes, the legal description has it and taxes are being paid, it's been used for a roadway for long enough years. There's prescriptive rights, and usually that's recognized in a record of survey.
One clarification, there was Jackie had brought up the road being widened on the parcel that we own. Is that what is being prescribed? Is that it's going to be widened to the west?
Yes, the whole property, Bradford Lane, is
So just to the
we're
west.
widening to the west.
So nothing's going to the
Or in
east.
some cases, moving the road further west.
Okay.
But our future plan, if the road were ever to be completely finished, are we saying that Ms. Garcia's partial portion or whatever, if we had to finish that road, are we only finishing half the road and widening it to the west? Or are we now saying that the width of the road will begin, I guess you'd say the eastern side of the road will begin where her property line is, and future road will only go from there west?
So our standards require that a developer builds a half a road plus 10 feet, which is wide enough to get two-way traffic. The east side of the road will be developed as property chooses to develop. If there's ever a need for the city to finish the east side of the road, we would approach and figure out the rights of ways and purchase property to do that.
Okay.
So it would happen in one of two ways. Either properties on the east would choose to develop, and that would be part of their plans to widen and finish the road. If the city were to move forward with plans for some reason to finish the road fully, then we would get our surveyors involved and approach property owners to acquire property that's needed.
But for this project, we're not widening the road in any way onto Ms. Garcia's property. We're only widening.
There is a section up in the existing intersection that's, if you ever drive the intersection at Bradford Lane and River Bottoms Road, there is taxing description that goes out in that intersection today. That's been that way for many, many, many years. I expect as long as the roadway's been there.
I think the best way to describe it is the road won't be further improved eastward.
That's a good way to.
Whether it's in a property line or not, as Ms. Garcia's expressed, I don't think we can really comment on that. That's a county road, and the history is as Corey's described. But the intention is that the road width will not go further east than what it is currently. All of the work will happen to the west.
Will any improvements be made as far as asphalt or changes?
To the west side of Bradford Lane or River Bottoms Road and Volunteer Drive going west, yes, there will be improvements. We do have, it's hard to tell because we've got two developments working on different portions of this, so seeing it in one plan, we do have plans we'd be glad to share. If we're planning some striping that would pull actually traffic further south and west of the existing roadway to line up to more 90-degree four-way intersection versus the skewed angles that lead to the accidents that I think were referenced already. So this is a huge safety improvement to that area.
And I think it's also worth noting at the intersection in particular. I'm just looking at a map here on my screen. As mentioned with this plan, would you circle the intersection would you circle what I'm thinking in my head, Jack? Appreciate that. You're not doing it.
Upright.
At this intersection, at this location here, as I mentioned earlier, the road is going to come to the west from where it currently is. So there will be some discussions in the future that we'll have with you where there will be some areas of roadways that we will look to abandon. Because today, as you can see, thanks, Dave, in this image, this roadway won't need to be used the same. I think we would anticipate some closure of some kind here to minimize the use. And then if somebody wants to use this as access to the fields, they can, but that would become more privatized. Is that fair to say, Corey, as I'm looking at this image?
Is that a four-way?
this would be a four-way type of intersection. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So there will be some future discussions with you when this is all done, where we say, all right, this right of way or this prescriptive easement as it is can be let go in some form.
Sense. And then the question about the drainage.
Great.
Corey, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think our city engineer Byron's been out on several occasions looking at the drainage in the area. In several locations, there's a separate pipe planned that will pick up irrigation ditches, drainage areas, and convey them ultimately through Volunteer Drive towards the river. Water rights that, as we understand it, Westfield Irrigation has rights to those. We've talked with them. They're okay with the changes and where the water is planned.
So before we were to do something like that, do we have to get, like, since there's water rights involved and we all know there's a lot of legal things around water rights, would we have to get in writing that they're okay with those water rights being diverted? Or how would that work?
We could. I don't know that there's a legal reason. I'll maybe look at Vaughn a little bit for that, but
there's a state statute that if they're to adjust any irrigation facilities, they have to coordinate with the irrigation district. Yes.
So I'm sure, assuming that for our legal protection, you'd want that in writing.
Yeah, we always send them. That's in our ordinance, and we send them to the irrigation companies to work that out. Now, if it's a water right, not just an irrigation facility, then yeah, they'd have to address changes to points of diversion, place of use, that sort of thing with the change application. But I'm not sure if that's the case or if it's just an irrigation company facility. So it depends.
So for our purposes, before we would ever divert any water, we would make sure that we go through the legal process of whatever those water rights need to happen.
That's the goal, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if the applicant has any insight on that. Any discussions that you've had with your engineer?
I'm not the engineer on the project, but I'll play one for a second. I looked into this after the Planning Commission meeting last time, just to make sure that the drainage issue had been addressed and that we've got a solution to the problem. It is being addressed. It's being piped once it's being captured. I can't speak to a water right regarding drainage, but our design includes, it's in the plan set to include capturing that. Obviously it's in our own interest to capture any storm drainage. So I don't think there's an issue there, but that's all I can speak to that. Other than that, I know it's been drawn up and planned for in our design. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't know if Dave, Corey, or Seth, which of you wants to address Ms. Garcia's question or concern about notification. The property owner and whatnot not seeing the plan or know what's the city's typical standard as far as notification on a subject like this.
Corey, you can take a shot.
I think the purpose of a planning or a public hearing is for notifying neighbors. I think this project through the years has been notified. I think Dave's office does a good job of that. Certainly our office is always open to come in and have people look at documents, and we're welcome to share those. So I think evidence of the discussion tonight is that owners are notified and available and have a chance to share their thoughts.
And what we're seeing tonight is the same as what was presented at the Planning Commission meeting. Is that correct?
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
I think Vaughn, look to you to maybe give us a few moments of instruction on prescriptive use of roads. It seems like that's probably the question at hand.
Yeah, if the question is about the ownership of the road, like Corey explained really well, that there could have deeds with legal descriptions that are old, and then there are now streets or maybe I'll just say roads, county roads that have traversed somebody's legal description. That happens all the time. And once they've been there for 10 years as a public thoroughfare, then they become a legal public thoroughfare. And so that's why you have descriptions go to the middle of the road, but the fences are set back, and people drive on those county roads for decades, if not centuries, and they're public roads.
Vaughn, do you happen to know, or does anybody know, if I own property on the river bottoms and half of my property goes into River Bottoms Road, which I don't want to pay taxes on because it's now a public road, is there a process a property owner can go through to deed that over to the county?
Dedicate it? Or, yeah, there's a lot of ways you could do it, make it public if you wanted to, like to formalize that an explicit public dedication. But like I mentioned, there's a dedication by use over years.
There are experts at the county that can answer that question, I think.
Any other questions about that? No. I think, again, I sound like a little bit like a broken record when I say I've been up here long. I've been up here just only a couple years longer than Councilwoman Beck, but she was up here with me long enough to see if the Bradford piece that now does have homes on it for how many years they've been there now? 3-4 years. My in-laws live in one. Same thing, had an irrigation company that used to water those fields before they had homes on it, and had a road in front of it that was a small county road that's now improved that you can get by when you travel to and from River Bottoms Road as well as that subdivision. So this is appreciate the questions and to get more clarity on this, but this feels like a lot of the same process. Obviously, our city works with Westfield Irrigation Company, every single irrigation company, as property owners request to do different things with their land, and water has to be reconciled that way, and roads too. So this is one more extension of that down in an area that a few years ago we did, and it grew homes, and so it's going to grow a few more here, but I do appreciate this is Ms. Garcia's mentioning of this has been a bad intersection, and not just of recent, but this was a bad intersection when I was a kid, and this is a big improvement of a tough intersection that does share, that's coming into our city and shifting a little bit to do that and improve it, but does border some county property too. I'm hopeful that we'll hear of less accidents, of less things happening because of the improvement here by a landowner, by a developer that's making this a safer place for people to travel, like me, every Sunday down there. So, any other questions, comments about this proposal, item A, coming before us? If there's none, I'd entertain a motion to approve item A.
I'll take a stab at it since everyone's so chatty up here. I move to approve the proposed villas at Annie's Acres zone change be approved based on the following findings and subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the proposal is consistent with the city's general plan designation of medium density residential, and number two, that the proposal meets the intent of the master planned development overlay zoning district. And the three conditions are that the applicant meets the city's development and construction standards, zoning requirements, and other applicable city ordinances. Two, that the applicant addresses any staff review comments, and three, that the City Council approves an amended development agreement.
Motion made by Councilwoman Beck.
Second.
Second by Councilman Took. Roll call vote here. Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
Councilman Euler.
Yes.
Councilman Cardin.
Yes.
And Councilman Took.
Yes.
Item A is approved. Thank you for the questions and the clarifications there on that. Takes us to item B on public hearing.
Again, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Really nothing to add.
Excuse me. Yeah, I could have. Sorry, we could have put those two together.
Yeah, this one's not a public hearing.
Not a public hearing.
Gotcha.
Staff's recommendation on the proposed amended preliminary plat. Quite a few conditions. come with the recommendation that was provided to the Planning Commission from the Development Review Committee. Both the Development Review Committee and the Planning Commission have recommended that the amended preliminary plat be approved based on the 2 findings that we have, and then what right now are 9 recommended conditions of approval. So kind of a mouthful in that regard, but
They don't all need to be read, though, correct?
I don't think any of them need to be read. If
can
you
say
just wanted to
findings and
reference.
conditions. Okay, I could have done that, though.
But you were warming up, though. You already did 5. What's 9?
Oh, I'm not doing this one.
Thank you, Dave. Anything else?
Not for me.
Okay. Questions for Dave before item B, the amended preliminary plat for the villas at Annie Acres?
No, I just seeing the change between what was there before and now the adjustments with the added property to the north, it makes sense. Better use of the property. You're not leaving kind of that island that would be there between the road and the properties that would be built out. So I think it makes sense.
I will just make a comment. I know we're dealing with a different developer than what this project started with, and we've discussed that in meetings in past. But I think this is a great thing. As I know it, we very few 55 and older communities in town, and I just think this one's awesome. So I'm glad that we're getting some more availability here.
Yeah.
I think this will help keep some people close that want to stay close, that maybe aren't down with mowing their lawn and shoveling walks anymore, but just appreciate coming to Spanish and having a project here where we can keep people close to us that age and close to a FitCity center that has record attendance from these people. So thank you so much. I think this is a great project.
Know a lot of the people that live there, and I can vouch and say they are the finest individuals that live in Spanish Fork.
Yeah. I'll tell Craig and Debbie you're telling you.
That was as bad as.
With that, I would entertain a motion for item B.
Do a public hearing for that?
I said no public hearing. Don't need a public hearing for this item.
Oh, it's just a public hearing.
Yeah. Sorry, it's in the public hearing agenda, but I could have teamed it up with A.
Do we list the conditions on this one as well?
You don't need to read them. If you just mention the findings and conditions, Dave says that's enough, and Vaughn didn't yell about it. So
just references.
Yeah, references. Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll go for it. I move to approve the proposed villas at Annie's Acres preliminary plat amended. Be approved. Be based on the following findings, subject to the following conditions, which are listed findings and conditions.
Motion made by Councilman Took. Second by Councilman Euler. A roll call vote here. Councilman Cardin.
Yes. Mayor, sorry, before the vote, in the staff report, all right, we just want to make sure we have all the same conditions. I think we do. You got the ones up here, Dave, the 1 through 9, same as in the staff report, right?
That's what shows on the...
All right. That's a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now we're good? Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote. Councilman Cardin.
Yes.
Councilman Took.
Yes.
Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
And Councilman Euler.
Yes.
B is approved. Okay, takes us to C in our public hearing, disposition of city-owned property at 1300 South Main Street, Spanish Fork.
Mayor and Council, anytime that there's a parcel of property that the city owns that is not needed or that we don't have any future plans for and that we'd like to sell, we are required to have a public hearing if the value is likely over $100,000. So the parcel of property located, like you mentioned, Mayor, at about 1300 South Main, the city owns that, and if you've been down in that area, you've probably noticed, just to orient where we're at here, on the north, there by Arrowhead Trail, there's a new Quick Quack car wash, and then there's some new development just across the street from this parcel. So there's well, that's pretty specific. I was going to say about 4.849 acres, but that's the exact acreage of the parcel. So anyone that's interested, if you want to get hold of me and we can talk more about that, we'll be accepting bids on that for the next little bit, and then once we have some that feel like they're a good fit, we'll bring that to you in a closed session and talk through that land transaction. So, any questions?
Questions for Tyler before public hearing for this item?
No.
Thanks,
Tyler. Okay, I'd entertain a motion to go into public hearing for item C.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Cardon. Second by Councilman Euler. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
We're in public hearing for item C. Anybody from the public that would like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Euler. Second by Councilman Took. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Discussion back up here. Any further questions or discussion about that property?
We don't need it. Let's sell it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tyler's information was up there. Reach out if you're interested. There's no questions. I'd entertain a motion for item C.
No motion needed tonight, Mayor.
Oh, nothing?
Just action
Just the public
tonight.
hearing.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay.
We'll then now be able to receive any offers and move forward. I imagine that in a future closed session, we'll talk about any and what those are and get your direction after that.
Yeah, perfect.
So, thank you.
Item D is ordinance for Title 15 amendments to change the setback requirements for substations in public facilities zone and allowed fence height in the public facilities zone.
Once again, thank you. There is a need to construct a masonry wall closer to the public street for a power substation than what our ordinance currently allows. Things like power substations should be zoned public facilities, so the proposal that's before the council tonight would only apply to properties that are zoned public facilities, and therefore the likelihood that this would come into play very often is really limited. It's further limited by the idea that, in addition to being zoned public facilities, we're just talking about power substations. So, not expecting this to really be perpetuated much at all throughout the community or in the community. And in short, as I think the staff report memo really simply identifies, the proposal would allow for masonry walls to be constructed potentially as close as 10 feet to a public street. In this case, when we think about a public street, that would be 10 feet from the sidewalk. So on a typical street, you have curb and gutter, some space that we call the park strip, then a sidewalk. And with what's proposed tonight, then there'd be 10 feet of space for landscaping, and then there would be a wall. Making this adjustment and allowing for the setback to be reduced from 20 feet down to 10, or on a corner lot, maybe from 15 down to 10, makes it possible for a very essential public facility to be constructed on sites where otherwise there wouldn't be enough room. So it is critical that this change be approved for at least one facility that is following the standard with how it's been designed. It's again, I would simply say critical. There is another part to the proposal because typically, currently in all zones, all non-industrial zones, the maximum height of a fence or a wall is 6 feet, unless somebody comes to a city council meeting with a proposal and asks the council to grant approval of something taller than 6 feet. You might remember, I think it was just a year ago, that we indeed added language to Title 15 to allow for fences in industrial zones that were taller than 6 feet. And another part of this proposal would add our public facility zone to that, because having walls that are taller than 6 feet is an essential part of providing the security that's needed around this particular type of critical facility, our power substations. So a reduction in setbacks to allow for more of a site to be used for actual substation site, proposal to allow for taller walls, not just for substations, but in public facility zones that potentially could come into play for other uses as well. Whereas the setback proposal is, at least as described with the proposed language, limited to just power substations. Again, still requiring at least 10 feet between a sidewalk and a wall, so you would have room for something to maybe provide some additional screening of what otherwise would be a pretty blank space. That
wall.
Potentially 8 foot tall, masonry wall. That's all there is to it. Both the DRC and Planning Commission have recommended that this be approved. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Dave, so if we didn't approve number 3, the requirements apply even if the adjacent property is city-owned, is that correct? We would still have to apply the same setback rules, even if the property next door is city-owned and the city doesn't care, but we're still required to follow those same rules, right?
Yes.
Okay, which explains probably the need for the change.
Questions for Dave before public hearing? Thank you, Dave. I'd entertain a motion for public hearing for item D.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Took, second by Councilwoman Beck. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
We're in public hearing for item D. Anybody from the public that would like to speak to this Title 15 amendment? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Euler, second by Councilman Cardin. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Discussion back up here. Any further questions before a motion for D?
Makes sense.
I would entertain a motion for item D.
I move to approve the ordinance for Title 15 amendments to change the setback requirement for power substations in the public facility zone and the allowed fence height in the public facility zone.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Euler, second by Councilman Cardin. A roll call vote here. Councilman Euler?
Yes.
Councilwoman Beck?
Yes.
Councilman Took?
Yes.
And Councilman Cardin?
Yes.
Item D is approved. Thank you. Last public hearing, item E, ordinance for Title 15, 41270, reimbursable projects, impact fee deadline update. Mr. Corey Pierce.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This section of Title 15 before you today deals with reimbursable projects. As we have development come into the city, for long-term planning, we have our master plans that say the sewer line should be bigger or the roadway should be wider for future growth. And as we ask developers to build those, they have the opportunity to be reimbursed for that upsizing of those utilities. And then the city collects with the building permit process impact fees that then can go to those developers to pay for that future growth. That way, future growth is paying for future growth. One of the challenges we've had lately that we've noticed more and more of is often this ability to ask for reimbursement goes on for a long time. Projects are finished and we're not seeing the applications. And the further that drags out, the harder it is later on to evaluate the costs and get that in the impact fee reimbursement plan. And so the proposal today is at a timeline for that, 6 months after the project's completed, signed off into warranty, to have that application in. It's a pretty straightforward process through CitizenServe. One of the things we talked about in DRC is making sure developers are aware of this, so we will add this as part of our pre-construction meeting and even on the closeout punch list type documents that we give a developer, just trying to make sure they're aware and get that application in a timely manner so we can review it while the project's still fresh in our minds. So.
Corey, are there any state laws that this conflicts with in any way?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Seems timely. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Corey before public hearing?
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. I'd entertain a motion to go to public hearing for E.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Took.
Second.
Second by Councilman Euler. All in favor say yes.
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 We're in public hearing for item E. Anybody from the public? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
So move.
Motion made by Councilwoman Beck.
Second.
Second by Councilman Took.
I thought Matt was getting up. He was just itching his head.
He might. No. Any further discussion on item E?
No.
I would entertain a motion for item E.
I move that we approve the amendment to the Title 15 verbiage around impact fee deadlines.
Motion made by Councilman Cardon.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Beck. A roll call vote. Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
Councilman Euler.
Yes.
Councilman Cardon.
Yes.
And Councilman Took.
Yes.
Item E is approved. Okay, that takes care of our public hearing section. We're on to new business, items A through E. First is the Station 61 GMP and construction agreement. This is Matthew T. Romero.
He's been warming up
Is
for
it
us all
really a
night.
T? Because he just
No,
gives
it's
yeah.
R.
It's an R.
He
It's,
just
Matthew R.
just
But good evening, Mayor and Councilwoman and Council member, Councilman. I thought the crowd would stay, but geez,
Had they known you were
I
presenting,
know
they would.
nobody
could've-
wanted to stay for this one.
Could have
I
built
guess.
it up.
Yeah, yeah, it's
We didn't
exciting.
even stay for the cupcakes. So I mean,
No, it's an exciting time. We've worked really hard on this, but got a few things. Just Fire Station 61 has been identified as a critical infrastructure project necessary to support the city's continuous growth and enhance emergency response times and maintain appropriate fire and life safety service levels. We have advanced through the planning and design phase, and we've got the construction documents that could reach a level where we can establish a GMP. And I actually want to thank Chase Hathaway from CERT Construction for joining us tonight. They've been really good to work with on this project and this designing and getting us to a price on this. They've worked very hard, and we're very happy. CERT Construction is engaged during the pre-construction phase, providing with cost estimates, constructability reviews, and schedule input. They approached with refined the project scope and identified potential cost effectiveness, and they reduced all the overall project risks on this. City staff is recommending to the City Council that we approve the guaranteed maximum price agreement with CERT Construction for Fire Station 61 at the price of $16,832,500. If there's any questions.
Questions for Matt for this? We have Councilwoman Beck and I believe Councilman Euler that were on this committee, going through months-long process, right?
Yeah, I'll just say we've sat through months, close to a year.
Yeah.
On this, and it's really been a pleasure to work with AGC Architects and CERC, and it's been really, I think it's really cool on my side to hear them rant and rave about our city staff and how responsive you guys are and how well you work together comparative to other cities. So that's really cool. So thank you. But also, I know everyone has really tightened down to get this number as low as we can get it while still having a state-of-the-art facility without going over budget, but having what's needed. I mean, it's such a balancing act. So I'm really happy with where we are and those who were so involved in all the line items of getting things where they needed to be. So thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Mr. Romero, you've done an outstanding job making sure that anything that doesn't need to be included for cost reasons doesn't get included. So props to you. Appreciate the work that you've put into this. Same with Chief Hales. You've both worked great as the professionals that understand your field and know what you need. For us to just kind of be flies on the wall and watch you guys work has been great. So appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Seth, can we talk to how the funding of this is going to happen?
Yep. Yeah. Let's finish perhaps this, and then I'll come down and chat about that.
Okay.
So I have a question for you, Matt. I should have prepared you with this. I apologize.
Oh, you're fine.
Shouldn't be too bad, but You identify the GMP that covers construction of the structure.
Yeah.
Doesn't include some of the soft costs, fees, and FF&E and the like. So with the GMP of 16.5 and change, what are your estimates for the total cost of the project?
So right now we've got soft costs and we've got the fees, and the fees are always a gamble when we do a budget with you guys until we know meter sizes, right? And so right now we're looking at all the soft costs at 1.9 million on that, about 2 million. So an all-in is going to be
about 18.5.
About 18.6, 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with that, there maybe touch on, maybe just for my sake, but you have a couple of contingencies built into that. We've got a builder's contingency, or contractors, I think, a city contingency, and then I don't know if you want to touch on the piers, but you can touch on that as well.
Yeah, I will.
Thanks.
So when we first came to you guys almost a year ago and talked about budget, right, you don't really know what's under the soil at that time. And so we had a geotechnical report done, and they came back and said we need to put geo piers under this. And the reason we had to do geo piers under this type of building is because it's a life safety building, so it takes you to a different tier to do that. And typically you just put them on the footings and on the edges and stuff like that, but this building requires it being everywhere, under the slab, everywhere.
We want this building to stay standing if there's an earthquake, right? This isn't one that we're gambling with.
Part of the reason why we're moving from the building that we're currently in.
Yeah. This structure that we're in right now has a similar standard because of its council chambers, the finance office. So it has a similar requirement. And this is a liquefaction zone as you think about the
So
geography.
Station 61 on Main Street now was never in that standard, so it doesn't have that. So if we were to, have that earthquake or whatever, the liquidation faction, if there is it there, we're not sure because I'd have to go back to the geotechnical report, but that building would not have it. What this one's going to have, but just those geopiers alone, they ran us about. We've put in the GMP 700,000 for it. We got two different bids. One came back at saying if we do what the geotech says, then it was like 426,000. But they suggested to us, by over time what they've seen, they wanted us to put a contingency in there so that if we have to go 30 feet instead of 20 feet, that cost is already built in. So we've got that cost built in for those in case it doesn't test out right. And so we feel really comfortable with that. Another cool thing with working with CERC that I really have liked is through all of our line items, they've carried a contingency line item just for like things that maybe got missed in the plan. And I've never seen that with any of our other buildings before. And so I feel really comfortable. There's about 400,000 in that area, just so that I don't have to come back to council every time to say, hey, we've got this, or it snowed 3 feet and we've got to cover the concrete. We've got that built in on that side. But on top of that, we also have a owner's contingency that's in our procurement policy that we always carry at a percentage. And I believe we're carrying 6% on this one, which is about average. What we usually go between 5 and 6, depending on the project costs. And so there's another 900,000 there. So if you take, all that, there's over $2 million just there in savings if we didn't have to touch any of that would come back to us. And it's one of those things that it's an insurance policy, kind of like. I don't want to have to come back every month to do that. We like to have that so that we can get the job moving and get it going. But then at the end of the project, their fees and everything, they give that back to us, whatever's left over. And through a lot of these buildings, like the rec center right now that we're working on, we should get a pretty decent amount of money back there. We haven't really finalized the final contingency on that. SFCN, I believe we got about 300,000 back, and on this building here we got about I believe it was about 220,000, and those contingencies. Some of those were a lot lower than what this one is, but we feel like with this one we're really comfortable. We're right at that number we kind of talked about, but we're hoping to bring back more money to you guys in savings on that. So when we go to the bond, we don't have to do that. So good.
Fire sprinklers is a line item in the firehouse. Why don't you just put it out with the truck, Chief? It seems redundant.
When's the last time we had a fire? When's the last time we had a fire in the fire station, Chief? 3 or 4 months ago. It happens. Believe it or not. Do you call 911? And if so, who answers?
Yeah, who answers that?
Scream.
Did you wait until you were dispatched before you responded?
Yeah.
Don't go yet, guys.
One other thing to note, too, that I forgot to mention is, so when we got this, I asked Cirque, I said, so where was your last fire station square footage price at? Just because I wanted to compare that. I think Kevin and Stacy were in that meeting, and it was at $630 a square foot, where with us putting these contingencies in, and the bottom line, it came in at 569. So we were well below, way lower than what the city of Farmington just did, which was, I think this job bid at the perfect time. It was, I remember them calling and telling me what happened at Farmington. They were under budget, and I pushed at AJC and says, you got 1 week and we're going to bid because we have got to hit this price. So they really did work hard to get us there, and it reflected in the square footage number for sure. So,
yeah, great job.
Very good work. Very good work, and going to be a great place for the new station. Mr. Parents, to talk about the numbers?
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions, though, before that? Any questions on the GMP? We should ask you when, you've been here for a couple of hours. Get up here. Tell us, when do you think you'd start construction? Yeah, come on. You can't sit here for 2.5 hours and not say anything, right? When do you guys plan on, when do you think you'll start construction? When do you think you'll be done? Give us some of that information.
Sure. As soon as the contract is signed.
Tell Steve,
tell her
your name.
Oh, Chase Hathaway. As soon as the contract is signed with the city, we plan to start writing contracts. We've already kind of done some preemptive measures as far as getting the GeoPeer subcontractor online with us, and they're working through design right now. And so we'll probably be about mid-April is probably when we would start. So
I thought he was going to say as soon as the weather breaks, we'll get started.
As soon as we get good weather. The weather's perfect right now.
Chase and Matt, maybe both of you can answer this. Do you plan on working side by side as far as moving the substation and starting on the fire station, or does one have to come before the other?
Yeah, so this is kind of a tricky project too. So we've ordered the steel for the substation, the lines that come down. We don't get those until, I believe it's November, but we'll work with them. So the good thing about the old Argyle substation right now is it's in the parking lot. So it's outside the envelope of the building. So it doesn't affect that at all. So we've started doing other things already at Argyle, and then by the time the switchover's over, because we can't really just turn Argyle off, we have to get it built and then make a switch at a certain time of the year once the power's staying around the AC. So we're hoping around this spring, before we have to turn ACs on, well, I guess a year from now I should say, that we can make that switch, and then they can finish out that end of the parking lot and move forward. But the building it doesn't fit in the footprint of the substation.
Okay, right.
So,
Chase, you'll keep Al Peterson far away from any project you do?
You keep who?
Unless it's next to a golf course.
Oh, okay. We don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Al's an old cert guy.
All right, thank you. We've talked about this in a couple of previous meetings, and I'm going to grab a couple of slides from 2 of those meetings to just walk through. First of all, I want to show you from a council meeting we had maybe three or 4 meetings ago. Maybe it was 3 or 4 months ago. I can't remember. I want to correct something. We have talked with you about having a $15 million bond. That's been a consistent number that we've talked about. In this slide, we were talking about bonding, but it was mislabeled as a $15 million total for the project. That is an error. It should have been about $18 million, and we heard that tonight with the numbers that Matt shared with you. So I wanted to correct that because as we were reviewing a couple of things, we saw that and thought, we should have been more clear with how we described that. The project will be, as Matt said, the GMP will be 16.5 million and change. 16.8? Why am I saying 5? I feel like I read 5.
That's why I kept wondering why I kept going to 50.
The GMP is now 12 million, just because I like that number better. I'm just kidding. Whatever the number Matt said, not what Seth said. With that, though, jump 2 slides if you would. Reminding the public, we're rebuilding Station 61 from its location on Main Street to a property immediately west of us, where the old senior center was. It's now been demolished. And what did you say, Chase? I asked Matt a question right when you said the time frame, when we have contracts to completion. You said about how many months?
GeoPeer guy, we're looking to kind of get everything mobilized.
Mobilized May to April. Perfect. All right. So we'll start to see July 27, we'd see substantial completion and then start working from there. So in any questions, all you'll have is questions probably about what I'm going to talk about in a second. So in a recent work session that we had with you, we outlined the timeline of bonding for this. This is going to be a little bit unique. At least what we propose is that we do this a little bit unique from the typical. From the typical, you might have, you got a GMP today. Let's start the bonding process and get a dollar amount, get that bond money in place immediately. With this, you heard Matt outline a number of contingencies that are in place. We'll know the number on the piers probably. We'll probably have that certainly before the end of the summer.
Yes.
And so, as you start the project, most of the contingencies seem to get used at the beginning, when you're into a lot of the details that are underground and whatnot. So, we also have another building project that we're talking about, a public workshop. We're not going to focus on the public workshop today, but because we are talking about a public workshop, it's really smart for us to combine a bond if we're going to do both, that we combine them into one bond. And so we have the ability with the fire station to front a lot of the required cash. Let me say it this way. We can use savings to do it, but we can't deplete. We don't want to deplete, or we wouldn't recommend depleting all of our savings forever. So we have the ability to front at least some of the construction costs with our savings and then replenish that when we get the bond, which gives us a lot of flexibility. Right now, the bond market is fairly stable. Actually, the last month, the bond market's been wonky. And Jonathan, who was here earlier today, our financial advisor, said the bond market has gone up about 50 basis points, about 0.5%, just because of the unrest, the geopolitical unrest around the world. But as that stabilizes back and with how they're seeing it, we'll probably see rates return to about 3.5%, maybe 3.25%, or down to 3%. If his crystal ball is as good as we want it to be. He said that in a year from now, you probably have at least as favorable, if not slightly better rates than you have today, which says waiting a year is probably a really good idea. So we have the ability, like I said, to front with cash from our savings account, the construction for a year, and then reimburse ourselves once we get a bond. By doing that, we can tighten down the actual dollar amount that we need. Right now, we estimate that we'll need no more than $15 million in the bond, but it's possible that we'll only need 14 by the time we get to that point of the construction, because we know that we've restricted down some of those contingencies and the like. So it gives us the ability to really fine-tune that dollar amount. As you can see, tonight, however, is, as we described it, the moment of final commitment. If you choose tonight to approve the GMP and move forward with the construction, we are saying that, one, we're going to build this, and we need to have the funding to construct the $16.8 million building. We do not suggest that we use cash on hand to build all of that, which means we would need to bond. So the moment of commitment tonight is basically twofold. One, you're saying that we're going to build it if you approve the GMP, and then two, we would strongly advise that you also say, and we intend to bond. We would make that intention to bond formalized with something that's called parameters resolution. That's a formal process, a public hearing. I think it's a public hearing. But it's a formalized process, a legislative action that you take where we review documents that our financial advisors and bond counsels prepare for us that say, we intend to bond no more than this amount, no more than this rate, and then we can bond into the future, maybe a year or so down the road, like I said. So let me sum up. We will need to bond, if we build this, we will need to bond for about $15 million, probably no more than that, perhaps less. Based on the timing when we can identify and narrow down those contingencies as we move forward. But we would suggest that you actually bond for that about a year from now, but that you commit to that process today if you move forward. And we would have no later than a council meeting in May, that parameters resolution. Jesse, did I get there?
You answered it.
Okay.
Further questions for Seth about that timeline? Appreciate that. I think it's always been a discussion about when we talk about this, what do we do with the old station? Plans are.
Yeah, thank you. We've got, it's what, Chief, about 1.5 years before we'd be out of it now? March to September-ish? So about 1.5 years before we're going to be out of it. We need to start talking about that in earnest. What do we want to do with that? We don't need to amass properties, so once we move out of it, it would be our recommendation, at least initially, that we study the possibility of selling that ground in some way. There's been some discussions we've had here publicly and with members of different groups that if we're going to sell the Station 61 side on Main Street, we ought to talk about the memorial building as well, and I think that's a good idea and involve the groups involved in that building as well. This is something that we've suggested. We talked about this in Midway. We've got some initial feedback from you. This is not finalized, but again, work session type material. We estimate a 10-year bond, about $15 million, and that this portion of that bond would be paid back with public safety impact fees. It won't cover all of the building because there is some current use of the building, and impact fees can only be used for growth. So we can't use impact fees for all of it, but we can use it for about half of it. So we'd pay for some of that with impact fees, some of it with what we call capital projects dollars. We save money every year for these types of projects. And then there is the possibility of using some money from Power and Light. We got a little bit of feedback from you on that. I don't know if we really discussed that, but this was the proposal that we talked about, or at least the high-level thoughts that we talked about in January. So just sharing that here.
Thank you, Manager. Appreciate that. Any further questions or statements about item A of new business?
I think Stacy and Kevin already kind of covered this, but thanks to the team for, one, going through the process of illustrating the need for it. I think that we did a lot of good public outreach in having the tour of 61, letting people see what the conditions are there, but also working through this process and also with a fine-tooth comb. Like, it hasn't been an easy process, I don't think, for anybody, because we wanted to make sure we get it right, and then also making sure that we get the funding mechanism right as well. So, and I think it's as Seth's laid out, it's important that we are clear that we are looking to bond for this. It might not be tomorrow, but it is going to happen as part of the process, and I think we want to be clear about that as well.
Perfect. Good summary. With that summary, I'd entertain a motion on item A to move forward on Station 61 GMP and construction agreement.
I move to approve Station 61 GMP and the construction agreement.
Motion made by Councilwoman Beck.
Second.
Second by Councilman Euler. A roll call vote here. Councilman Euler.
Yes.
Councilman Cardin.
Yes.
Councilman Took.
Yes.
And Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
Item A moves on, is approved. Thank you. Appreciate the presentation, appreciate the numbers, and we'll look for it to be done soon.
Soon. Get her done. Yesterday. So again, we'll work with our financial advisor and have a parameters resolution.
Don't leave. We got some.
Have a parameters resolution for you to review no later than a council meeting in May.
Perfect.
Thanks.
So coming back up in May for more discussion about that resolution, and watch for details from the city there. Okay, takes us to item B under new business, the sponsorship agreement with Utah County for the Spanish Fork competition pool.
Can I just say that Matt looks really nice tonight?
Sure does.
Mm-hmm. You guys agree with that?
Yeah. He's always been a good-looking man.
That one comment that one time really stuck to me.
He looks like he could work for the Parks and Recreation Department. Oh, wait a minute, he does.
He does.
Don't even get a chuckle out of it.
I know, he's deep in
a
something
cubicle.
else.
He looks like he could work in a cubicle for you.
He's too sunburned for that.
He has worked for the Parks and Recreation Department. And can I just say, Matt was a great hire.
Yeah.
He has been a real asset to this city, to us personally, with all our construction jobs, and I know others. He's a real asset and a blessing for our city. I had the chance to work with his father almost 30 years ago. Wow. And of course, I've had many opportunities to work with his mother, and she just keeps coming back around. It wasn't hard. She is a community-minded person, that woman. I love her. So, the son of a rancher's, I would say he comes from good stock.
There you go.
So, he does. Love working with Matt. I don't know that you really have to stay, but we do have a building that's on the docket here in just a minute. That has something to do with you. But as for this agenda item, man, it's been years ago, I guess, since we went over to the county, the mayor and Seth and I, to make a presentation and ask for some funding to try to help with the rec center. And a portion of this is just now coming to fruition, so it's taken a few years. So the agreement that you have before you is an agreement with the county where they're going to reimburse the city up to $1 million for the construction of the competition pool, which is what our presentation was focused on, was that competition pool at the FitCity Center. The agreement, and I'm just summarizing what's in this long document, but this agreement's for a 5-year period, which will end on December 31st, 2030. And the city will consider anyone within the 84660 zip code as a resident when purchasing FitCity memberships. So we've agreed to this. That's what it says in this agreement. And also, we'll also extend the same benefit to those that live in unincorporated 84653 zip code. The county's providing that information for us, right? We're not having to spend any hours or time tracking down who that might be. But they're trying to take care of some of their unincorporated residents down in this end of the valley. And so that's what we are agreeing to in this contract. Any questions? That's kind of it in a nutshell. They're going to be giving us $1 million as soon as we submit for reimbursements for some of the costs that were expended in building that portion of the rec center.
If we got very many individuals that we'll need to make price adjustments for after we approve this, as far as that have already possibly signed up for a membership and now they'll get the residents instead of the non-resident.
The way we've decided to handle that is if and when they come to us, if they've already signed up, we won't reimburse any money. Or refund any money. We'll just extend membership.
Okay.
So that they get that value.
Give them some extra
whether
months.
It's a couple months or 3 months or whatever it might be. That way it's cleaner.
Okay.
Because we really couldn't act, and our staff was just in limbo. So I just said, you guys need to just charge them the full rate, and if something happens, then we'll take care of them later. But because this has been a long, drawn-out process, as you know. Good question.
There's a lot of center already, but this should entice more people. But appreciate the county's partnership on this. It's an important piece of our city, but an important piece of South Utah County for sure. If there's no other questions for Dale, I'd entertain a motion for item B.
I move to approve the sponsorship agreement with Utah County for Spanish Fork competition pool.
Motion made by Councilman Cardin.
Second
by Councilman Took. A roll call vote here. Councilman Took.
Yes.
Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
Councilman Euler.
Yes.
And Councilman Cardin.
Yes.
B is approved. Another Utah County interlocal agreement that Dale has worked on as well.
Yeah, so this is an addendum to the original agreement that we made with Utah County back in 2008 regarding operations at the fairgrounds. So I know you guys know, but for those in TV land that may not know, the county is a full partner in this fairgrounds facility, and we work closely with them. They pay for half of the operation and maintenance of the facility. But when we have capital improvement projects, then we get together with the Fairgrounds Committee and talk to them about whether this is something that would be good, and if we do, we split the cost with them. So this agreement addresses the new indoor arena that will replace the Willie Barn, and also a new stall barn, as well as the removal of some of those the old indoor stall barn that's just east of the offices there. So it's basically taking the next step in our master plan. So it addresses the joint construction of the new facility and the stall barn, as I mentioned. Also in this facility, the indoor facility will also include offices to house the Utah State University Extension Program. And both the county and the city will each pay half accordingly of the estimated $11,231,000. And then it's specified in there that the county will pay $350,000 before June 30th of this year, and then the balance of $5,265,500 after July 1st of 26 and before June 30th of 27. So we're basically splitting the costs of this facility. This has and I don't know, maybe unless you're familiar with with the facility itself, the county has a real vested interest in facilities that bring economic impact to Utah County, and so this new indoor arena, as well as these additional stalls, really the studies that we've done, the economic impact studies that we've done just on that alone, have a huge return, and so that's really why the county and why we are interested in improving the facility, because it's going to bring back a lot of shows and make it possible for us to host a lot of shows that bring a lot of people into town for multiple days, and the numbers are pretty incredible. which is why the county also is very interested in improving these facilities, as well as the old Willie Barn is the old Willie Barn, and it's old, it's not safe, and so this is a good move for us to be able to improve the facility, but also bring some really nice events to the fairgrounds. Some high quality horse shows and different things that just we can't house right now because we don't have enough facilities to be able to do that.
Questions for Dale about this one?
Dale, with this one, we talked a little bit about Station 61 when that gets moved, what the plan is with that existing location. With the Willie Barn, it's lived a good life. What's the plan as far as tearing that down, and are we going to try and scrap that? What we typically do when we're done with a facility or something like that? What's the plan with the Willie Barn?
What we probably normally would do in a circumstance like this is you would have people, obviously farmers or somebody that's interested in having that facility.
Yeah.
In this case, timing is a real issue because we have a very small window to get this thing torn down, built, and going again before we have major events. So we can't start on this until August. We're trying to push that up a little bit because we're in such a tight window. We're trying to get in there after the livestock show and see if we can start doing some things in the back where the stall barn's going to go, which would limit some public parking. Basically, is what it would come down to. The public parking on the east end of that we've been using for rodeo is going to have to go away anyway, except for there's one parking lot we will use that's up by the facility shop, but the rest of it is going to have to be turned into contestant parking because we're going to consume that with a big stall barn right there, and so they're going to have to move out where the public parked, and we're going to force the public to go on the south end of the parking lot and actually fill that up, which we haven't yet so far. So we just might move that up a year. Move that up a year is what I'm saying, because it's inevitable that we're going to have to take that parking lot anyway. So we're still looking at that. I know these guys met today, but we need all the time we can get because we can't start till then, and then we have to be done by March. We got to be done by March, so it's a pretty short window to get back to the cycle of the livestock show and all the rodeo, all the big events that we have. So I didn't answer your question.
No,
started to. So normally we just don't have time to have that process take place. So it's going to be demolished. Did I say that right? Yeah. Because we've had people that have inquired. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll have farmers, but they just take so long to be able to take their part and get that stuff moved out if they want to, and we just don't have the time to do that.
Just take it apart and put it out front. Say free to get home.
Bring your own trailer to haul it off.
Sign on and say free. Must be gone tomorrow.
Must move in one load.
Must move in
one load.
That is something that people have asked about, and people will continue, I'm sure. Hey, that's good. It's not good. And for us to be in the business of government as we are, and to let that go to somebody else, it's just a bad idea for us to be in that game. Timing-wise, as Dale's outlined, the safety of that structure is a large reason for what we're doing. So,
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, Dale, is it quick question? Is it expected or surprising that the Willie Barn has outlasted its previous owner, Willie Nelson?
Actually, it's not surprising. Yeah, that is kind of a fun piece of the fairgrounds, though, to have that heritage, to know that came from him.
And I think we should name the resulting structure the Willie Barn, even though it won't be the same, but we certainly can carry on that name and
we call it Willie 2.
That's kind of fun. Willie 2.0.
It's going to be bigger. If it was going to be smaller, we could call it Wee Willie, but it's going to be bigger. So.
Wow. It's getting late, huh?
We're not even at 9 yet.
I know. Just saying.
Well,
Did
Nick,
you want to? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I do have one other thing, but
No, go ahead.
No, you. I'm going to totally kind of turn around a barrel.
Here? Okay.
Yeah. You want me to veer? Oh, no, go. Sorry.
My thanks is going to just be to Nick and Dale and Seth, Matt been on this too, and a team of people that have been able to have this vision and bring it to us and bring it to the county as well. I guess the point, if residents are still watching this late or going to watch this later, I struggle when people make blanket comments about Spanish Fork and what it was at one point and now what it is, and they try to relate that sometimes to the agriculture heritage or the farming heritage. This is $11,231,000 of taxpayer dollars invested into that heritage and keeping that alive and growing it. The only things that are going to be in this building are animals, and sometimes kids with animals, and sometimes very much professionals with animals. But it is agriculture, in which our fairgrounds is at. Now, we don't control, which you don't want government to control everybody's ground. So if there's a farmer close to us or inside city limits that decides to do something else with their ground, well, that's their decision, and they got some process to go through. But I love that when it's our decision and it's our ground, your city is investing $5.2 million of just your taxpayer dollars here in Spanish Fork into that heritage alive. Keeping that heritage alive, not just keeping it alive, but growing it and fostering it. You're not going to find in the Wasatch Front, I would assume, especially Utah County, Utah Valley that's partnering with us, you're not going to find a facility that has grown like ours has in intentional ways to make sure we still remain a center of this type of not just entertainment. It's entertaining for me to go down there. I don't own any animals, but the growth of kids, of rodeo professionals, of horse professionals, and everything that's going to go in there. For anybody to say the Spanish Fork's lost sight of that, all we're doing is continuing to invest millions and millions of dollars in growing that and doing it in the right ways in the right places. So make sure we don't meld the two of private property owners that want to do something with our ground. They can. They always have. And what we do when it's our ground, and especially as it fits in the agriculture industry, we're there. So thank you.
And I appreciate that. I love that. It is unique, and it's unique to Spanish Fork. And Spanish Fork was the hub of livestock in the state of Utah back in the day. I mean, I even worked in the sales yard, moving hogs around and other things. But it is part of our heritage and part of our tradition, and I love that this city administration and council have felt the need to keep that alive because it is our past. And yeah, there are a lot of kids that don't play sports that do this stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff, and a lot of life skills are learned here. And so we love the fact that we've had the ability to keep this growing and keep it alive. And it's a lot of fun.
I think to your point, find a fairgrounds in Utah, maybe in the world, that is located 5 blocks south of Center and Main. Right. 5 blocks south of Center and Main. It's a part of the town.
Yeah, you won't find it. It's just so unique that a city's even involved in this. When I talk to people around the country about parks and recreation in Spanish Fork, nobody has a fairgrounds. Like, what is that? That's usually run by counties or some other organization. So that is completely unique.
And the amenities help. The location helps because you can come to the fairgrounds and do the events that you have, but then also take advantage of some other things. Like if you go to Elko, Nevada, and you're out there at their fairgrounds, you're kind of out the fairgrounds doing nothing for 3 days because it's a long drive to get to anything or wherever that fairgrounds might be that you go. Here, you can go to the movies, you can go to the rec center, you can go hike on trails, you can golf, all as a part of your family's trip to wherever. So it adds to the economic value that the county really was focused on in their partnership, making sure that this drives economic dollar.
Well, and that's where I don't want the point lost. It's not. I get it. I can be a pretty big homer about our city, but the proof is in what happens here. It's the Utah State Junior Livestock Show here. It's the county. Yeah, it's the county fair that's here. But these national places that'll be here now, it's not just because we got a great logo of Pride and Progress. It's because we have the facility, and it's because we've put the dollars into it to make it that way. So that's my plea is let's make sure we're living in reality when we're talking about what Spanish Fork does, because when we put our money to it, it's put in things like this, and it's paid off for years and years, and this will too. I'm just excited to see this next step in this facility that's already awesome, and it's just about to be that much better. So good work awesome. Sticking with it.
Mayor, if I may round the last barrel and come home on this, in order to hit the tight time frame, we talked with you a couple of months ago about ordering the steel for the structure with the long lead time, but more importantly also, I think we ordered it in January. Was it in January that we ordered it? Maybe early February?
Yeah, February.
We also wanted to take advantage of a price, buying it before the price of steel went up. So we were able to do our bids, get contracts, and get bids, identify the contractor that we want to get contracts in place, and order those materials. I think they came in slightly under budget, which is great, but that material is now here. The contractor has said that he can sit on the invoice until our next fiscal year starts, but that's $2 million, and that's 3 months away. We're doing our budget right now. We have the full rest of the project budgeted for our budget starting in July 1, but I would propose that we not lean on the contractor's finances and have him sit on a $2 million invoice for 2.5 months. But we can, with a budget amendment that we have planned, or typical at the end of the year, instead of budgeting all of the project money to start in July, we can advance some of those to right now, pay him. We aren't spending any more, we're just spending those dollars a couple of months early, and relieve him of that burden. Hopefully that makes sense. It's not costing us anything, it's just an adjustment in how we would time the budget dollars be spent. Tonight isn't the night where you would do that, but are you comfortable if we move forward with that kind of a direction, advancing those dollars a few months early, and then in the end, what I would have done was present to you a budget for the project of about $10 million in next year's budget, because we've already spent some in this year's budget, and I would reduce that $2 million next year and increase it $2 million this year. So I'm simply just swapping $2 million from there to here. Does that make sense? And anybody uncomfortable with that? We won't formally approve that action until the budget revision in June, right, Jordan? But with that kind of head nod, we'll move forward with that. And I don't think the contractor didn't ask for that. I'm really grateful for their
we have the invoice
for their willingness, but
he said he was willing to do it.
Yeah.
I just
don't think that's the right approach.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks for that. Okay, we need more than a head nod to move past item C here. If there's anybody ready to make a motion on this resolution, okay, I would entertain one.
I move to approve the resolution for the Utah County Interlocal Agreement Addendum 4.
Motion made by Councilman Took.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Beck. Roll call vote here. Councilman Cardin.
Yes.
Councilman Took.
Yes.
Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
And Councilman Euler.
Yes.
Item C is approved. Thank you for that discussion and presentation. Let's go to D, ordinance approving the water use and preservation element of the general plan. Good night.
Good night.
Now he's out.
Thank you. If you can recall your minds back to December of last year, we discussed this item and held a public hearing for it on the water use and preservation element of the general plan. There are a few concerns and some public comments on it that we've updated. We've tried to take some time to really help include in this document an understanding of the purpose and maybe alleviate some of the concerns that the language brought up in that. So we've added some in your packet. Should be the red line strikeout version. That is the difference from December's version to what we're reviewing today. Maybe high level, this is kind of a guide of how the city manages and uses the water in the municipal water. It's not intended to regulate or put any requirements on agricultural. And the way that water is used, those are separate and are not part of this. Part of the confusion was, and the language talked about temporary agriculture, and I understand the concern with that. So we've reworded that. Just a reminder of what that is. We have, I believe, 12 pressurized irrigation services that service agricultural property within the city limits. And these are where landowners that have agriculture have requested and worked with a developer to get a pressurized irrigation connection. And then the city essentially wheels or sends their water rights from the river or Strawberry, wherever that's coming from, through our system to deliver it to their property. And we have an agriculture charge for that really just covers the O&M of the pipe. But the water purchase and everything is their water that they provide, and we deliver it rather than the traditional open ditch through an irrigation company. This has benefited those landowners in agriculture in that they can go to a pressurized system, sprinklers in a different way than flood irrigation. Totally up to them, but they no longer have to get up at 2 a.m. to take their irrigation turn, because when the system's pressurized, they can turn on and water when it works for them. So we see this as a benefit. One of the reasons it's included in here is we're outlining ways that the city is trying to conserve water. That ability for a landowner to choose to do that can save a significant amount for that agricultural property as well as the general area. So we see that as a benefit, and that was highlighted. We've changed the language to be agriculture connections. So just identifying those properties in town that are connected to our pressurized irrigation using water for agriculture purposes. The numbers that you see in this as far as water use do not include those because, again, it's their water being delivered through our system, not city water going on grass or other things. So that's maybe a high level, a lot of the changes in there. I think it also provides flexibility for those landowners, and they can stretch their water further. It's a win-win in that case. Other items didn't really change a lot from what we looked at before, but again, the intent of the document is how are we managing water, and as we look at land use as the City Council, Planning Commission, our planners look at land use and general plan issues and other zoning things, this document's intended to say we need to include and we want to include water use in our town and conservation as part of those decisions. And there's some ideas, and it outlines what our code already has in it approved that we are already implementing. So that's kind of the background and update. Any questions or anything I missed that as you've looked at that?
Any thoughts, Corey, with, I know it's important, is this part of what the state's requiring with the city's water plan?
Yes. Every city's required to have this be a part of their general plan element. And this is outlining meeting the requirements of that legislation.
I recognize the importance that we discuss and talk about conservation, but is there any thought or concern as we write up a document that maybe would push a farmer or somebody to move towards drip irrigation rather than flood irrigation? Is there any concern about groundwater? Because, yeah, you're going to have less water now that recharges the groundwater that is part of the recharge or or that flows further downstream that others might need that water for? Is there any concerns?
It certainly could have an impact on groundwater, yes. And I would maybe rephrase, we're not pushing, I would say we're facilitating. We're allowing this as a measure to be flexible for a developer. Obviously, they're interested in not piping a ditch and investing that money differently. So this isn't something that the city goes out and pursues or even necessarily recommends. It's when a developer is talking with their neighbor, their irrigating neighbor, and says, hey, I'd rather invest my $500,000 rather than pipe this ditch. Boy, can I install a service? Can I pay for this? And the city's willing to work with you to deliver your water in a different way.
And then it's up to the developer and the property owner to decide whether they want to do that or not.
And it's not outlined in here, but we do have a procedure that's through, and there's formal agreements. And again, it's all open to choice.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important to highlight this this land use element of the general plan, this water conservation element of the general plan is not directed at farming at all. This is directed at water that flows through our pipes. That's it. So any mention of farming in this plan is actually because we offer something that is extremely unique. I don't know that many cities offer this kind of service that it allows a farmer to use the PI system like we do. It's extremely unique. So there's no force and there is no direction. This has no bearing on irrigation water, ditch use, anything like that. This is about water that flows through our pipes. And so it only works in certain circumstances where the farmer, the irrigation company, the developer, and the city are aligned that it can work. We have seen in recent years, and I think this charts some of those, we've seen in recent years growth in farmers that are wanting to use this aspect of what we do because it saves them costs and it increases, in general, it increases the water that they can use. In terms of groundwater use, I think absolutely there could be less water that goes into the ground after that, but that won't be any different than what happens when that farm field turns into houses, right? And
have we had any fields within city limits up to this point that have converted to the PI system?
Oh, yeah, dozens.
12.
About a dozen.
12?
Yeah.
We've got 12 PI meters.
I thought you said there were 12 that were available that could, but you're saying we've got 12 that actually have?
Uh-huh.
Yes, these are
so
12.
Historically, one you'd notice, it's now turned into houses, but on 1400 East, on either side of 1400 East, the Jerry J. Lee Butler Field, that was on the system. That was probably one of the first.
Okay.
Fred Vincent's
farm on 2300 East, that's on this system.
That one's on it.
In Spanish Fork, in the city's limits, if you see sprinkler pipes, if you see wheel lines, chances are it's on this system.
Okay.
I should know, we have to analyze our system. Can we provide the water they're going to need? Can we physically get it to them in the quantity they need? And so it takes a little bit of effort from all to say, here's how it would work, and our facilities can handle it or not.
How does that work between what they're allotted to use through flood irrigation and then what they're actually using now through our metered system?
So they would make a request for an amount of water, and they would write and direct, essentially through the irrigation company, to direct the river commissioner to allow that water to come into Spanish Fork City system. We would pump it to the reservoir and then deliver it through the pipes. So there's a process and a notification on that. We have found a little bit when it's always available and not this 2-hour time frame every 3 weeks or whatever it may be, that we meter and we know what their water right is, and if they go beyond that, then they're going to pay city pressurized irrigation rates for using city purchase water.
Okay.
And we watch that closely, and they work with the irrigation company to say, hey, can you deliver a little more water to Spanish Fork's intake system so we can get it to our. This has got even, I've found actually more recently it's been the irrigation companies looking at, especially on the East Bench, miles of pipe that they have to maintain for that last few customers or that last customer. And I've had irrigation company representatives come in and say, hey, I want to talk to our last user out on the end about converting and tying into that. Are you okay with that? And so the irrigation company sees it as a benefit where they're maintaining miles of pipe for
one user.
That one user, and the losses that come with that through the pipe or different things. They're seeing the benefit in approaching it, and I would say some of the proactive effort in making this happen is probably coming from the irrigation companies seeing the benefit to their system and their maintenance needs as well.
You heard from many of the farmers that have converted that they're getting better production because they're able to, rather than flood the whole thing, they're targeting their crops.
I haven't heard that. I haven't asked though.
But they're still maximizing and using whatever they were using with flood irrigation. They're still using their amount that they need for drip irrigate or for.
We've seen some that we've had to say, hey, you're getting close to your
what you were using
water right allotment.
Okay.
We don't touch their water rights in terms of it's their water right.
Yeah, if they had a certain amount with dripper with flood, it still gets delivered, but now it's through our system.
The irrigation company might decrease their allotment because there is some that's some water is allocated for evaporation or loss through the delivery system. So that's between the farmer and the irrigation company, but we don't do anything about
regardless
that.
if they're on our system or not. You get a call from the water master.
Yeah, we're not involved in that. We simply are conveying. And so again, this is not about farming water. This is not about ag water. Yeah. This is about all of the other things that happen with the water that is used through our pipes. So to focus on that element, I think, is missing the mark. This is focused on how our water is used. If a farmer chooses to use this system, they will likely save water, which is good. Right? It's statewide. We need to save water everywhere.
Yeah.
It allows them to put water closer to where they need it rather than through less efficient means. But that happens if it happens. This is about directing development and how water uses how you and I use water in the developed parts of town.
Do we have an idea as to how many within city limits are still using flood irrigation and could be converted?
We haven't looked at that necessarily. It typically is a conversation that happens when development gets closer.
Yeah, and I would not recommend we go out and do that.
Yeah.
I was curious what we're looking at.
And maybe on the side of the city water use, there's a chart on page 2. It's interesting to me on the drinking water side, between 2019 and 2024, it's a relatively flat water use. And if you think of the growth, even in that 5-year period, we've had a lot of growth. But these conservation measures and different things seem to be working. Pressurized irrigation is more difficult because a hot year, drier year, it's hard to tell. You can't tie that exactly to the number of sprinkler systems connected to it. But you can see that ebb and flow a little bit. But really, it's kind of held on an average as well. So the plan and the efforts done are working, and I think we're using less water as a city. So
I'll sound a little broken record type talking about this too, because I talk about it sometimes. But if there's some cause or a reason that we have to be proud of what we've done in Spanish Fork, our water use and the preservation of it and the general plan piece of it should be a huge part of what we should be proud of, because it's, although we're refining it and making it better because we're always improving, I'd go back to your dad, and I'd go back to some people that made great decisions 25, 30 years ago that now the state requires cities to do, and we did it decades before other places. So I love I love that we keep having an eye towards the future and don't rest on our laurels about success. But our water use element of our general plan, it's a big success. And so thank you for continuing to improve it and modernize it. But it is a successful part of Spanish Fork and held up to other cities as an example. Not just for the city's sake, but how you work with, this is coming from the son of the former river commissioner, how you work with the river, how you work with the irrigation companies, and everybody that's involved in what a precious resource it is. We've got a good track record, and continuing that I know is important to you, Corey, and your department, and you're doing a great job continuing it. So thank you. Any other questions for Corey on this item? If there's none for item D, I'd entertain a motion to approve the ordinance of the water use and preservation element of the general plan.
I move to approve the ordinance of the water use and preservation element of the general plan.
Motion made by Councilman Euler.
Second.
Second by Councilman Took. A roll call vote here. Councilman Took.
Yes.
Councilman Cardon.
Yes.
Councilman Euler.
Yes.
And Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
Item D is approved. Takes us to E, a federal consulting contract, Barker Leavitt. Is that the name of a person or the name of the company? I can't remember.
It's the
Person.
Yeah, person.
That is the person.
And company.
And company.
Yeah, it's both. Yeah.
Cool. I'd do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, took me just a minute there. If I would have had another taxiway at the airport, I probably could have been here faster. Anyway, that's just a little lead into what I want to talk about right now. So earlier, Councilman Cardon mentioned that when we had the opportunity to go out to the National League of Cities, we had while we were out there, we had an opportunity to meet with Barker and Leavitt and get a little bit better understanding of what services they provide. We have, I think everyone on this council has been on the council since we really tried to make a hard run at federal funds to fund a renovation of the Thurber building, also for some funds for the airport and some other needs that we have. We don't foresee the needs for infrastructure going away anytime soon. I mean, as all of you are aware and have shared your thoughts about that in different meetings. So the funding that comes from the federal government is very competitive, and a lot of times the applications are complex. And so hiring a consultant at the federal level to help us with federal affairs would be very beneficial to the city in helping us to, we feel like we would get an incredible return on the investment there. So that's the purpose of this contract, is to be able to enlist the services of Barker and Leavitt and use their expertise to help us obtain that federal funding. But any questions on this?
If we can get the funding, it'll be worth their weight.
Right.
Ooh,
Already
gold,
sounds
yes.
very
Yeah, it's true.
In the cash we pay.
Gold
Yeah.
or cash or whatever.
Pave it in asphalt, not gold. It's going to be built in asphalt.
Yeah, no questions, Tyler, but I was incredibly impressed with the interactions, meeting them and the group and their team, and just what they can do for us and knowing what we need, and more than that, really them being willing to help us beyond we'll have. And so I was really excited by all of this.
That's I think that's a good thing that you pointed out, Councilman Took, is they've expressed an interest in meeting with all of the directors to talk about what projects do you see coming in the future that we can help try to obtain funding for. So yeah, appreciate you sharing that.
Good work. I think a good step for our city. And
yeah, and I think it's important to note this is a ratification. Did you say that?
I didn't. No, this is a ratification.
Click on it. There is a signature on it. So the request is to ratify this contract that has been signed to be able to get them on the case and try to be in the federal funding cycle that we need this to be in.
I think it's important to note, for the last few years, as Tyler suggested, we've tried really hard. We've worked hard. and we've been decently successful at it. And then it seems like at somewhere in the process, the carpet gets pulled out from underneath us. And so having somebody that's more in tune with the processes and understanding of how to ensure it, I think will enable us to sharpen our presentations and get it across the finish line, which is just so hard. And we've got it. I think we've got at least 6 projects in mind at this point that we can work on over the next few years, and I think there'll be more that will come as we talk about it. So
for sure.
Thanks.
Very good. Thanks for the legwork on this one too, and I agree. I agree with what's been said. Impressive people, impressive team. That we expect them to do some good work for us. I'd entertain a motion to ratify item E.
I move to ratify the contract with Barker and Leavitt for federal consulting contract.
Motion made by Councilman Cardin.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Took. A roll call vote here. Councilwoman Beck.
Yes.
Councilman Euler.
Yes.
Councilman Cardin.
Yes.
And Councilman Took.
Yes.
Item E is approved. Takes us to our discussion item tonight. Just one item on there before closed meeting after that. The Planning Commission's recommendation on the proposed land use element and growth boundary amendment. Mr. David G. Anderson.
Let's pull the plug and go over to the website. Let's just go there.
Perfect.
So, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Trumpets and fanfare would absolutely be appropriate tonight if we had them.
Is that because baseball starts tomorrow?
Finally, well,
yes. First pitch is tomorrow.
Several reasons, right? Yeah.
Yankees go for 28.
The road starts tomorrow, right?
And eliminated.
Exactly.
Hey.
So, it's been a while, but in February, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on the draft land use element of the general plan. There's a little bit of a caboose with that. That is an amendment to our growth management boundary. They held a public hearing on that as well. And then a few weeks ago, they recommended that both the draft land use element and the modified growth management boundary be approved. So that fulfills the role that the Planning Commission, according to state law, plays in preparing a general plan. And I'm here tonight just to kind of symbolically make the handoff to the City Council. Yeah, Jack, will you help me kind of walk through this? So this is the city's website. This is the community development webpage from here. And I'm going to give just everybody that's maybe watching at home a quick second to catch up. So community development webpage, the city's website. If you go to the planning webpage then, you'll get taken to another prompt there, land use element right there. So anybody that wants to see what I'm talking about tonight can go to this page, and there is a big red thing on this page that you can see there. We started to identify different versions of this. When I say different, I mean just from one more current version to the next a few months ago. Started to track that. So at the bottom of that page, you can see the last 5 that we've done, which is embarrassingly a fraction of all of them that we've put together. Today's the 24th of March, 2026. So that's the version that's current. That's what people can get to most easily from that web page. And we're still in the mode of inviting people to get familiar with the document. Frankly, if anybody has questions about this document at this point, it's best just to call us in the Community Development Office. We have several people there that'd be happy to sit down, answer any questions. And along those lines, I appreciate the mayor and Councilmember Cardin taking some time a couple of weeks ago. We kind of talked through maybe the best process to go through in terms of maybe like some final steps in advance of getting this project ready for the council to adopt. And I don't mean to speak for either of you, so I'm going to share my kind of perspective on that discussion. I think we saw some value in providing the public with one last opportunity to get informed, maybe outside of coming to this forum in a council meeting. So we will be holding an open house next Monday. That's the 30th of March from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock right next door in the Heritage Room. There'll be several of us as community development staff there. We welcome anybody else that wants to come to be there. The purpose of that is for us to answer questions. The plan that I'm looking for some actually, I want you to tell us it's what you want us to do, but if you don't, please tell us that as well. We anticipate then also providing notices later this week to hold a public hearing on this with the City Council on the 7th of April. So if anybody has reservations about that, please tell us tonight. Frankly, I think it would be entirely appropriate, maybe looking ahead, but once the council holds that public hearing, you could act on the general plan whenever you would like. So that being the case, there's some heft and some weight, and I do expect there to be some comments and maybe some discussion that evening on the 7th. You might want to take some time to maybe deliberate internally, just think things through. Maybe there'd be questions that you'd want to pose for us offline as staff or something like that before you'd feel comfortable acting on the document. And you could do that at any point in time after you hold a public hearing. But do you have any concerns with us following that path and prepping for that next step?
Sounds good.
No, I just want to thank staff, especially our community development team, for holding one more opportunity for folks to come in and ask questions. We are doing something a little bit unique with the growth boundary, and I think it's important that people just understand that. But also, the general plan has been, this is what, two and a half years in action. Yeah. And so there's a lot of things that have happened. So I think it's a good opportunity to come in and ask the questions in what we've been told is maybe a threatening. It feels a little intimidating to come up to the podium to speak. Yeah. And so this is a good opportunity to come ask those questions in a way that maybe helps you to get those questions answered easier.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a great way to describe it. I just want to mention one thing that I'd probably want to discuss with the council maybe after the public hearing on the 7th. There is an inconsistency that I'd like to discuss in terms of, I call it a lot of times the Clyde annexation, the 1050 West annexation. They presented in a council meeting a couple of months ago with, frankly, what I thought was a pretty good first run at a concept plan for a residential development on the west side of I-15, just north of 400 North. There is policy language in the draft that conflicts with the idea of moving forward with that annexation. And I've had some pretty candid conversations with the gentleman that has represented Clyde on that, the one that came to the work session that we had about that proposal, like I said, several weeks ago now. But aside from that, I really appreciate the effort that the Planning Commission has put into the document. A lot of things have been ironed out. And, maybe my last thought is to share what the Planning Commission Chairman, Todd Mitchell, said. So we were talking about this a couple of months ago, kind of winding down. He reminded everybody that, hey, this is a living document. That was his phrase. I would use the same one. He was making the point that at some point in time, it's entirely appropriate to move forward with the idea that we're acting with the best information that we have today, understanding that our crystal ball is only so clear, and that it will be entirely appropriate and likely important to make adjustments and changes down the road. Oftentimes, prior to us starting this project, when I've heard people in recent years and maybe criticize the general plan that's in place now because it had been quite a while since we last really updated that, I had to kind of hold back a little bit because I know how many times that was updated over the years too, and I think that's really how advisory documents like this become the most effective and most useful, is if you allow them to be pliable and to work over time. So that's really all that I have tonight, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has. And certainly if there's anything that you want to bring up offline, have any questions about this particular latest version, which incidentally has not changed in any dramatic form from what you've seen before. We're happy to have whatever discussions you'd like to have. So,
thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Any questions for Dave? My quick comment to that is I appreciate Commissioner Mitchell talking about a living document with it, and that I think we have had a lot of discussions about this, and that to continue to maybe have too many more, not to say that people don't have the right to come and petition to amend the general plan. Yeah. Property owners can do that, people can do that, and it's happened. It's happened probably 12 times in the 12 years I've been here, but it happens. So they certainly have that right to come in the future and do that. But I guess I'd caution us not to have perfect be the enemy of good either. This is a really good document, a lot of work, a lot of input, and I think one more meeting to talk about, maybe some people that don't want to come here in a public setting. Perfect. Let's talk about it, and then let's take the next steps of getting this clear for us and for landowners and everybody in the.
Let's take the next step.
Yeah, I agree. So thank you, Dave. It's not lost on us your department and the work you've done, and a lot of people in different departments to get to this point. So thank you.
Thank you. And I'm afraid maybe I didn't express my gratitude to the Planning Commission for what they've done. If I didn't do that, please let me do that as I walk off now. But they put a lot of time and effort into this. It's certainly appreciated. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay.
The mayor does the appointments for the planning commission, so I'm going to take credit for appointing good planning commissioners. That's how a politician does it, Dave. You got to learn how to do it.
I think the previous mayor put most of them on there, though, right?
It's true. Some of them are carryovers, but
I'm just kidding.
Got some in there.
Maybe it's 50-50.
Maybe we need to change all.
Maybe it's 50-50 at this point.
No, I'd echo that. Good work, planning commissioners. Thank you for the good work and the studying and talking to people and going places. They have been rock stars on this, and we thank them for their time.
Mayor, just real quick while we're on this topic, just wanted to note that Councilman Marshall's not here tonight, but he did send us all an email, including some staff with some comments and questions and suggestions directed towards staff for the land use element or draft review. So just wanted to note that he's submitted that, which I'm sure staff will take the time to review. So
he is engaged, even though he's not present this evening. Thanks for mentioning that. Okay, if there's no other business on that front, the next item is to adjourn to closed meeting.
Can I ask one quick question? With the heat recently, PI, have we thought of possibly opening up the pressurized irrigation prior to April 15th?
They're filling it right now.
Okay, perfect. I'll get back to this resident.
It's difficult because it takes time to fill, and we typically don't say, hey, we're filling it, because everyone goes out and turns on their sprinkler system.
Right, and we don't want them to.
And now it takes longer to fill and get to pressure to where it can be used.
Okay.
So right now, while you may open your tap and see water, it's not at pressure.
We do.
And we would ask, let's wait till.
I've been sprinkling for.
I saw several people using their culinary water out watering, their dry, dead shrubbery or trees. So
some of that as well, as I've learned, IFA offers a 4-step program to fertilize your yard. Step 1 is supposed to have already been done by now before the soil gets too warm. one of the requirements with step one is that it has to get wet to activate. And with not having any rain, if somebody's gone and fertilized and put step one in, they have to use their culinary to actually get it to do anything. Otherwise, they're going to burn up their yard.
Yeah.
So if you see your next door neighbor with his hose out watering his yard, don't make any
Don't
assumptions
judge.
that he's just wasting water, right? There's probably a reason behind it.
Okay, thanks, Corey.
Yeah, it's coming soon though. They're working on it.
That's a good point. Good.
But it's also not good water conservation to start too early. So
Right.
that is just we are so dry.
Yeah, really, our goal is to use the river water when we can in the spring, right? Before we tap into reservoir water. And this year, 33% of normal is our plan for the river. So it's
the runoff
we're not
has already
gotten a lot
happened,
of
and
help
you're not
there.
even going to notice it.
It's crazy. The runoff's happening, and if you looked at the river today, you wouldn't know. You would think we're in the middle of July.
High as the river's going to get, and it's not high. That is a tough year. But if the person that's over Yard of the Week doesn't ask a question like that, she's not doing her duty.
That's a good point.
She deserves.
When does that start up?
That'll start up Memorial Day weekend through Labor Day.
What are those?
I mean, everybody's still not aware of those dates, but we'll get them to you.
Surprise.
Is it like the same as Christmas and Halloween?
We're going to have yards that we give them. Well, you guys are really good to give awards to people that don't just overwater grass, but they use their landscape in a really good way. So
Conservation Yard of the Week, the most yellow grass.
Yep. Good stuff. Okay. Anything else, Councilman Cardin?
I got it ready for a closed session. If you're ready for it.
Got it. Okay.
I move to adjourn to close a meeting for discussion of character, professional competency, or physical or mental health of an individual, and for strategy sessions to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, including any form of water rights or water shares, to discuss a proposed development agreement or project proposal in the Explorer Room, provided code, or Utah code 52-4-205.
Well done.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Cardin, seconded by Councilman Euler to go into closed session. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
We're in closed session. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight.